Chapter 907. Gu Jingzi smiled. Okay, try it first. Lin Che held the gun with one hand. She had done it before when she was filming, so she definitely knew how to do it. It was just that holding a real gun was a little different from when she was filming. Lin Che was a little excited. Then she fired a shot. With a whoosh, she felt herself being pushed back, and then the bullet had already disappeared to who knows where. The coach at the back couldn't help but laugh. Lin Che was speechless. How could the recoil be so strong? Gu Jingzi said. You know, the recoil is very strong. Try it again. Lin Che pouted. Seriously, I'm a girl and I'm weak. Of course I can't take it. She found an excuse and hurriedly tried again with both hands. She wanted to regain some face. This time she had to hold the gun tightly and shoot properly. Seeing her like this, Gu Jingzi smiled speechlessly. Her shot went wide again, missing the target. Lin Che was speechless. What's going on? Is there something wrong with the gun? Gu Xinian shook his head silently. Lin Che's face was red with anger. Unwilling to admit defeat, she tried a few more times. But none of them hit the target. Lin Che turned around with a sad face. Annoying, there must be something wrong with the target. Gu Jingzi shook his head. He put down his hands and walked over. Be good, don't move. Let me do it. He moved closer to Lin Che from behind. His hands passed by Lin Che's sides and circled around her body. He helped her press down the gun, pinching her fingers and helping her fix the muzzle. Look. Like this, place the gun flat and don't move. Spread your legs a little apart. This way you can better control the recoil. Think. Remember, you don't have to aim very accurately. Just aim roughly. Because shooting doesn't rely on your eyes, it relies on your feelings. His breath came from behind. The material of the uniform was smooth, and when it rubbed against each other, it made a nice sound. Felt good too. It was as if every touch could be felt by both sides. Lin Che felt warm. Being surrounded by him like this made her heart run wild, and she didn't know what she was doing. But the people at the side were really tortured. Seeing a man teaching a woman how to shoot like that, they couldn't help but feel embarrassed. There were also some girls who looked forward to it. They wanted the men who came with them to do the same thing. However, if they did the same thing in front of Gu Jingzi, and they were not as tall as him, they would be tortured even more. Everyone looked on with envy. They could only watch as she learned to shoot. Just a moment ago, they were still mocking that woman for not being as good as a child. But now they felt that this was how it should be. Why did girls have to be so strong? They just had to be a little more gentle so that they could be hugged like this. Gu Jingzi helped her with the gun and said softly in her ear, "Come on, focus and pull the trigger." This time the gun was fired directly and hit the bullseye. Lin Che was surprised for a moment. When she saw that it showed that she had been shot and it was a bullseye, she was stunned. As expected, with the Almighty carrying me, flying was very easy. Gu Xinian did it again, and this time he was more skilled than before. Seeing that it was almost time, the family prepared to go back to eat the cake. As Lin Che walked, she said speechlessly, "Why can't I hit the target?" Humph. Gu Jingzi tilted his head and looked at her. He smiled and said, "You're just not used to it yet." Lin Che pouted. Then why was their son? Lin Che looked at little Gu Xinian. She really felt that she was not as good as her son. However, it seemed that Nian Yan was quite amazing. He learned things so quickly. Lin Che thought that she was the one who gave birth to such a genius child, and she was very happy. On the way back, Gu Xinian was a little tired from the excitement and fell asleep halfway. After all, he was still a child. No matter how mature he was, he still had a child's body. He needed more sleep than an adult. Gu Jingzi carried the child on his shoulder and walked with Lin Che. Seeing that Gu Xinian had fallen asleep, Lin Che started to talk about it, so that Gu Xinian would not be proud if he heard it. She said, "Nian Yan looks very smart. He learned it so quickly." Gu Jingzi said, "Don't worry. I told you that he didn't inherit your IQ, but he has a strong learning ability. So he can't learn as slowly as other children. That will hold him back." Lin Che pouted and said indignantly, "Don't you know that there are specialties in this field? Moreover, girls need to think emotionally and boys need to think rationally. I'm not wrong to be emotional." Gu Jingzi was already used to her finding excuses for him at any time. Moreover, although she was emotional, she wasn't that stupid. She didn't hold him back, but she needed to be taken care of. And he liked to take care of her. He liked the feeling of taking care of her meticulously. Taking care of her was like taking care of a child, and it made him feel a sense of accomplishment. When they got home, Gu Xinian went to bed without eating the cake. However, he got what he wanted for his birthday, and this must have satisfied him more than any other gift. At night, Mu Firen said that they didn't come because Nian Nian didn't have a party this time. However, Yun Yun had already given Nian Nian her gift. Lin Che said that they didn't want to make it big this time, so the others didn't know about it. Mu Firen said, "Of course, I'm thinking that since the three of you are celebrating your birthday together, we shouldn't get involved. We'll give you a family of 3 time to be alone. Let's celebrate next year together." Lin Che thought. In the past few years, they had always celebrated their birthdays together, which was actually a good feeling. Okay, Yun's birthday is coming soon. You can all come. Yun likes to have fun. If you don't come, only the 2 of us will celebrate it together. That's for sure. We'll definitely be there. This year Yun's birthday would be very lively, because they wouldn't be the only ones celebrating her birthday. Haiying would also be there because it was his daughter's first birthday. Lin Che thought that they were a family of 3, although Mu Firen and Yun didn't know it. On Mu Firen's side, she put down the phone and felt sour in her heart. It was not because she was jealous of other people's happiness, but because she felt that everyone was so happy but she was still struggling. She could not blame others for living like this. It was all because she was too naive at the beginning. However, this also made her even more determined. That was, she must divorce him. She must. Chapter 908. Mu Firen had already sent someone to inform Mo Ding about her divorce. But Mo Ding didn't reply. The next day Mo Ding didn't reply. However, the Mo family called Mu Firen and said, "Firen, you said you were back in China, but you didn't come home to visit us." The Mo family had always disliked Mu Firen because she was an actress and they were businessmen. They had once said to her that a prostitute was heartless and an entertainer was heartless. However, Mo Ding had comforted her and told her that it was enough for them to love each other and that they didn't need to care about what their family said. Now that she thought about it, it was all a joke. Mu Firen was surprised to receive the call. She didn't know who had given her number to the Mo family. Mu Firen said, "I don't think you'll welcome me even if I go there. Now, as you think, I have decided to divorce Mo Ding, so there's no need for me to visit you." About the divorce. We heard from Mo Ding that this can't be decided by the 2 of you. We have to discuss it together. Why don't you come over and we can discuss it together? Wouldn't it be better for us to get a divorce? That's right. Mu Firen wondered if the Mo family was happy to hear that she was going to divorce Mo Ding and urged her to do so. Mu Firen also wanted to settle this matter as soon as possible, so she agreed. Okay, I hope everyone will be here in the afternoon. I'll go and discuss the divorce with them. The Mo family agreed happily. In the afternoon, Mu Firen felt that everything had changed when she arrived at the Mo family's house. Mo Ding's first pot of gold was sponsored by the Mo family. Because the Mo family ran a private bank, they had some savings and had some prestige in the local area. Therefore, many people had thought that she was relying on a rich man. However, Mo Ding's family was very stingy and didn't give her much financial support. On the contrary, the company made a lot of money because of her. Ever since she became famous, she had never rested. She had been filming one TV series after another, commercials, movies, and all kinds of work. She didn't feel tired at that time. She just felt that they were fighting together for the future and the money they earned from their hard work was their common savings. However, the Mo family still thought that she was an entertainer and didn't deserve Mo Ding at all. Mu Firen sighed as she looked at the big yard of the Mo family's house. Then she adjusted her bag and walked in resolutely. Mu Firen is here. Mo Ding's mother, Granny Mo, and Mo Ding's younger sister and brother-in-law were all at home. Father Mo probably wouldn't care about these things, so he wasn't around. When Mo Wen's mother saw Mu Firen, she stood up and smiled faintly. The person on the phone was Granny Mo. She looked at Mu Firen and smiled. She looked kind, but she was actually very sinister. Mu Firen knew how terrifying she was when she was angry. Granny Mo said, "I heard that you and Mo Ding are getting a divorce. Actually, we agreed to it. But since you guys are getting divorced, shouldn't we properly calculate the assets?" Mu Firen was stunned. "So they're here to let me divide the property." Mu Firen sneered and looked at the members of the Mo family. "I don't think we have any property to share." Granny Mo said, "How can you not have any? Don't tell me that you don't have any money. You've been abroad for so many years. You've spent a lot on food and accommodation. Forget about what you've spent. I'm sure you still have a lot of savings. Mu Firan replied, That's my money. You said it yourself. That's my savings. What do you mean by, your money? Mo Ding helped you earn your money. Without his support would you have earned so much money? Granny Mo's face darkened. Mo Wen's mother chimed in, Firan, people shouldn't forget their roots. Have you forgotten how hard it was before you became famous? If it wasn't for Mo Ding would you be where you are today? Mu Firan said, Yes, Mo Ding helped me become famous. But is he the only one working hard? Can he help me become famous with his little resources? You don't know this, but I know that I fought for a lot of resources with my own hands. It has nothing to do with him. Sai, I don't care what you say. You're married to Mo Ding. Those are your assets after marriage, right? Are you going to take them all for yourself after the divorce? Granny Mo said. Mu Firan snorted and said, I had my assets notarized before the marriage. If I want to take my money, I can. When the few of them heard this, their expressions changed. Notarized assets? The few of them had not expected her to be so scheming. Mo Wen's mother said, I knew it. You're so nice and said that you're sincere about marrying Ah Ding. You have your own plans. Mu Firan said, I don't care what you say. Anyway, don't even think about taking a single cent of my money. I'm definitely getting a divorce. Granny Mo snorted and slammed her hand on the table. Her voice was loud and clear. We want you to get a divorce as soon as possible. However, we won't let another woman take the Mo family's money for nothing. If you want to get a divorce, give us half of the money in exchange for Ah Ding's. We'll part on good terms. That's impossible. Mu Firan said immediately. Granny Mo said, Then you should delay the divorce. It's fine if it's a man. Ah Ding is already so old that people want him. But it's different for you. You're getting older and you'll be an old woman in the future. It's impossible for you to sell yourself for more money. I'll see who can delay the divorce. Mu Firan seemed to be immune to Granny Mo's vicious words. She felt disgusted when she heard them. If you don't agree, I'll file for a divorce. We've been separated for many years anyway. It's obvious that Mo Ding has a mistress outside. What? A mistress? Do you think you can win if you go to court? I can tell the judge that you were unfaithful first. Don't think that we don't know that your child is a bastard that you got from somewhere. You don't have a place to raise him, so you're busy marrying Ah Ding. You want Ah Ding to be the scapegoat. Mu Firan's heart tightened again. She felt terrible when she heard them call her a bastard. Can't you show some kindness to a child? Mu Firan couldn't help but shout. Can't people talk about it just because you're a star? Granny Mo said. The Mo family's younger sister harumphed as well. Granny, you don't know. Don't think that these actors are impressive because they earn money from selling their bodies. I'm guessing that this child belongs to some rich family. Since she can't marry him, in order to tie him down, she didn't want to abort the child, so she married my brother and gave birth to the child. I don't believe it. Ashing, don't you think so? None of the actors are good. That's right. I've heard a lot of gossip. There's talk about an actress sleeping with a director and knocking on a male lead's door in the middle of the night. There's talk about how many rich businessmen she has. Chapter 909. Mu Firan looked at them and said, If you want money, just say it. Don't try to slander me. The entertainment industry is deep, gossipy, messy. You make it sound like Mo Ding is not messy because he is not an actor. If he has a good character, he will be good wherever he goes. If he has a bad character, he will be messy even if he is a monk. Mo Ding's mother said, Hey, you've already had a child with him. How dare you come here and complain? We're giving you face by asking you to come here to talk about the divorce. We're in a relationship and we shouldn't wash our dirty linen in public. Otherwise, we'll be on the news and we'll see who will be embarrassed. Mu Firan snorted coldly and said, Don't even think about getting any money. Don't even think about getting a penny. Then don't divorce. Let's see who can outlast the other. Mu Firan had never seen such a shameless family. She was about to walk out of the Mo family's house when the younger sister stood up and ordered her husband. What are you looking at? Get this bad woman out of here. The man really pushed Mu Firan out with the younger sister of the Mo family. Mu Firan turned around and said, Let me go. I can walk on my own. The younger sister snorted and said, I like to push you. What do you think, bitch? Mu Firan walked down the stairs and looked at the people above. Sooner or later she would make them take back what they said today. Sooner or later, Lin Che, who was in the filming crew, received a call from Mu Firen in the afternoon. Mu Firen told him about the incident with the Mo family. Lin Che said angrily, "How can they be so shameless?" "I don't know. I've never seen such a person," Mu Firen said. Lin Che said, "It's the wrong person you met. Actually, after marriage, many couples turn from lovers to enemies because of money. After all, it's a society where benefits are the most important." Lin Che sighed and said to Mu Firen, "I'll deal with it when I come back. I'm going to take part in the first filming of the reality show and it'll be next week. I'd like to see how capable the Mo family is next week. How dare they say they won't divorce me?" "Xiao Che, I'm not complaining to you because I want you to help me. You've already helped me a lot. Firen, you've helped me a lot. We're friends and we should help each other. I can't let you share the same household register with that scumbag. It's so disgusting." Hearing this, Mu Firen couldn't help but burst into laughter. Lin Che said, "Anyway, don't worry about anything for now. Wait for me to come back and we'll think of a way together, okay?" Mu Firen had no choice but to agree. But here, as Lin Che was going to film a reality show, he took a few days off from the set. Nan Gongyu immediately gave her a holiday. When he left, he looked at her and said, "Your husband is quite rich. Why did he participate in a reality show?" Lin Che said, "A real person show is quite fun, isn't it? Moreover, it's broadcast before our EDM. If it becomes popular, our movie might even benefit from me. Fuck off. Since when does my movie need to rely on other people's glory? I should really retire." Lin Che stuck his tongue out at him before leaving. Before leaving, Gu Jingze was still a little worried. He gave her many reminders and helped her pack her luggage. He looked at her and said, "If you're too tired and can't take it anymore, come back." Lin Che said, "All right, it's not that hard." Gu Jingze wrapped his arms around her waist and kissed her on the cheek. "But I still don't want you to work so hard." Being stared at by him, Lin Che's heart suddenly softened. She reached out and wrapped her arms around his neck. "Don't worry, I'll take good care of myself." Gu Jingze wouldn't believe her. Even though he knew that Lin Che was living a good life without him, he still couldn't help but worry. But no matter what, she still had to leave. The filming started from the moment the car entered the venue. When Lin Che got out of the car, the crew came. When Lin Che saw that the camera was aimed at her, she knew that it was time to start. She immediately began to put on the effects. Her suitcase was put away with a dumbfounded look on her face. She said speechlessly, "You guys are starting already? Can I bring some clothes to change into?" The reality show started filming. Just as planned, the few of them went on a trip together. They drove a small van and set off. Each of them paid some money and the rest was up to them. Everyone was a little reserved at first. They introduced themselves and talked about what they knew to see if they could earn some money while traveling. After a while they got out of the car, but unexpectedly they started to go astray. The big brother said that they wanted to go begging and the little fresh meat said that they wanted to perform. Everyone split up to earn money first. Lin Che thought for a while and decided to set up a stall by the roadside to read fortunes. The people on the road didn't even look at Lin Che at first, but when they realized that it was Lin Che, they immediately ran over. Lin Che said, "I don't know anything else except for horoscopes. Why don't I read your horoscope for you?" Everyone was very excited. A few of them were willing to pay, but for the sake of the show's effects, they couldn't earn too much money at once. So Lin Che took a few dozen yuan and closed the stall. When they got back, they didn't expect that Lin Che would still earn the most money. And some of them didn't even get a single cent. So they started to snatch money and food without caring about their image. It was very embarrassing, but it was also very funny. At first, the production team didn't deliberately give them different personalities. But after spending a day together, everyone realized that everyone's personalities were very different. Their slightly different appearances made them look very unique. And on this day, everyone became familiar with each other. When they looked for a place to stay at night, they realized that most of their money was spent on food. In the end, they had no choice but to find a shopping mall, and the few of them slept on the floor for the night. The production team was very satisfied and felt that these guests were not wasted. However, even though everyone did a lot of embarrassing things for the sake of the show's effects, they still chatted in private. The big brother from the hosting world said, "I heard that the viewership ratings for that trip were quite good." Little Fresh Meat asked, "I saw it too. The broadcast was quite good. but the viewership ratings have dropped compared to the previous season. That's for sure, but it's still quite high. Sigh, aren't we just looking for death if we go up against them? Lin Che, on the other hand, was very calm. She said directly, forget it, we'll leave it to fate. Even if we don't become number 1, we'll be number 2. Everyone looked at Lin Che speechlessly. They looked at her sitting there, wrapped in messy newspapers that she had picked up from outside to keep warm. She looked really... Hey, aren't you a goddess? Why do I feel like our production team has invited a crazy woman? Lin Che went up and gave someone a kick. I'm the only woman here. I'm a goddess. This is called contrast, makes it more obvious. What do you know? Chapter 9-10. Along the way, the few of them had a good relationship. Although they often had to fight for things, food, places to sleep, and money, they were all laughing and fighting. For the sake of the show's effects, this was very normal. They even created a group and added each other on WeChat so that it would be easier to keep in touch. After 2 days and 2 nights, everyone returned in exhaustion. However, the journey was actually very interesting. Although they were tired, they had quite a lot of fun. Very quickly, they returned to B City. Lin Che had just gotten off the plane when she saw someone waiting outside. She left through the VIP entrance and didn't intend to leave from the outside. She didn't tell anyone that she was coming back, thinking that they probably weren't here to pick her up. Looking at it, it turned out that it was the program team that had gone on a trip together. Yang Ling followed the program team, and when she came out, she felt the enthusiasm of the fans outside. Everyone was dressed very brightly and they waved to the people outside. At the side, the director of Embarrassing Plays program team said to Lin Che, they came back specially to inform the media and fans. They want to create hype and say that they have a lot of fans. Lin Che raised her eyebrows. They can do that. Alright, why don't we do that for our show? The director said, because we haven't started broadcasting yet, we don't know the viewership ratings, so we don't dare to create hype in case the viewership ratings are too low. It wouldn't look good if we were to slap ourselves in the face. If the viewership ratings for the first episode had a few points, we would dare to publicize it properly. Lin Che nodded in understanding. There were still some ways to do a show. She naturally didn't know about this. This was her first time doing this kind of reality show and she didn't know how it would turn out. However, outside, the hype on the internet for them to go on a trip together was already in full swing. It looked very lively. At that moment, no one thought that some netizens of Embarrassing Play had already posted some news saying that they had seen a photo of Embarrassing Play, and there was a very funny photo in the photo. It was a photo of Lin Che setting up a stall by the roadside to read palms and read her horoscopes. On a piece of white paper there was a word written, fortune-telling. Then she squatted on the curb, waiting for customers to come and have her fortune read. This photo really aroused a lot of curiosity and made people feel that it was very interesting. They looked forward to the show even more. They really wanted to see what kind of show this was and how it could be so embarrassing. Then some other smaller photos were also posted. But what exactly happened and what the highlights were, they definitely couldn't be revealed. Otherwise it would be boring. Therefore, everyone could only wait for the first episode on Friday to get a more specific answer. Over at the film crew's side, someone looked at the photo and was very surprised. Who wrote this book? How can there be so many ideas? Why is our book getting worse and worse? The show's scriptwriter was also very depressed. We've already used all the ideas that we should have. Moreover, their idea is to have an embarrassing trip while ours is a trip. We have a different starting point. The program team's director harumphed and said, I don't care. Anyway, you guys have to think of ideas for me. Think of something different. Otherwise, go to overseas programs and copy them for me. Even if you have to copy something new. The director really felt that the popularity of the show was starting to be hyped up on the internet. It made people feel threatened. But the scriptwriter hurriedly said, all right, they actually don't have that much to do with their promotions. Haven't we already established a good relationship with the higher-ups? We've also agreed to give them as much funding as they want. Let's see how they're going to do it if their promotional budget can't keep up. Their viewership ratings will definitely not be better than ours. Don't worry. When the director heard that, he felt that it made sense. When Lin Che returned home, it was time for Yunyun's birthday. Lin Che brought Nyen Nyen to Mu Firen's house. She let Nyen Nyen get dressed by herself at home. She raised her head and looked at Gu Jingze. We'll be home very late tonight. Are you coming with us? Gu Jingze said, Birthday celebrations are boring. If you girls like to celebrate it together, you can go. I won't go. It was one thing to celebrate one's own son's birthday, but it was another thing to celebrate someone else's birthday. Lin Che wrinkled her nose at Gu Jingze. Then she brought Nian Nian out. Mu Firen had already prepared the birthday party at home. Although Lin Che and Nian Nian were the only ones attending the party, the mother-daughter pair still prepared very seriously. After all, Yunyun's birthday only happened once a year. Mu Firen would always make the best birthday for Yunyun. When Lin Che and Nian Nian arrived, Yunyun hurriedly jumped down to open the door for them. Ian, happy birthday. Lin Che passed a big gift box to her the moment she entered the door. Yunyun said happily, "Thank you, Auntie." Mu Firen walked over. "What gift did you buy? So big." Lin Che said, "I bought a set of Barbie dolls." "Oh my god, I've seen this brand before. So expensive. Why did you buy it for her?" Mu Firen said. Lin Che said, "It's nothing. Girls like dolls, unlike our Nian Nian who likes to play with computers and cars." Nian Nian looked up and pretended to be speechless. Mu Firen said, "Girls do like that, but it's too expensive." Lin Che said, "That's true. Yunyun is my goddaughter. I don't care how much money I spend on her." Mu Firen looked at her with a smile. "All right. Anyway, I just saw that your reality show seems to be getting a good response. I guess you're going to make a lot of money again. I'm a poor person with no source of income, so I won't stand on ceremony with you. Go away. You've made enough money and retired." The birthday party was very warm. Yunyun was small and had an innocent look on her face. She ate the cake and played with the toys with Nian Nian, looking very happy. Lin Che leaned against the chair and chatted with Mu Firen. Seeing that Mu Firen had indeed become more haggard after returning to China, Lin Che's heart ached. "They just want money and don't want to let you go. Didn't they say how much money they want?" Lin Che asked about her visit to the Mo family. Mu Firen said, "They said they want half of my assets." "Ah, they're crazy. Firen, I'll go with you one day. I want to see how they're so powerful that they dare to ask you for so much money. Don't they have any shame?" "Although I feel exhausted and want to get a divorce, I don't feel comfortable letting them take advantage of me." "That's right. I feel disgusted when I hear it. I can't let them have a single cent. Maybe they know that I bought a house here and think that I'm quite rich," Mu Firen said. The location and the size of the house were very attractive. She had indeed spent a lot of money on it. She wanted Yunyun and herself to live more comfortably and give Yunyun more space to be happy. Therefore, she didn't care about the price as long as it was within an acceptable range. In B City, any house cost a few million. She spent more than 20 million to buy this bungalow, which was indeed a bit extravagant. Chapter 9:11. As they spoke, they heard the sound of a car coming from outside. The two of them couldn't help but look out. At this time the car drove so close to them. Were they looking for her? As expected, the car was parked outside. Lin Che and Mu Firen stood up and walked over. Gu Jingze was the first to come out. Behind him was Mo Jinyan. "Why are they here?" Mu Firen asked. Lin Che was stunned. He thought that Gu Jingze must have gone to pick up Mo Jinyan and come with him. She quickly said, "It's okay, I told Gu Jingze that it's Yunyun's birthday today. Maybe he thought it would be livelier with more people." Without revealing Mo Jinyan's identity, Lin Che smiled and went to open the door. Mu Firen was still surprised. It would be livelier with more people, but it was weird for the two of them to come. But since they were here, Mu Firen naturally welcomed them. She was grateful that they were willing to celebrate Yunyun's birthday with her, which meant that they treated her well. Mo Jinyan and Gu Jingze walked in one after the other. Yunyun and Yan Yan walked out too. When Yunyun saw Mo Jinyan, she ran over happily. "Uncle Mo, you're here. Are you here to celebrate Yunyun's birthday?" A child could tell who liked her more, so she would get closer to them. Hence, when she saw Mo Jinyan, she was very relaxed and ran over affectionately. Mo Jinyan picked Yunyun up. "Yes, Uncle is here to celebrate Yunyun's birthday. Happy 4th birthday, Yunyun." 4 years old, his daughter was already 4 years old. But this was the first time he knew. Actually, Mo Jinyan, who had been through so much, had long given up on his family. He felt that he might never have children in this lifetime, nor would he have any relatives. He never imagined that he would actually be able to see his daughter in this lifetime. He naturally pampered her as much as he wanted to pamper her. Yunyun was held high by him. It was a hug that was different from a mother's hug. It was a hug that made people feel safe. Mu Firan watched and remembered that Immerse was still injured. She quickly said to Yunyun, "All right, Yunyun, don't tire yourself out. Come down quickly." Immerse smiled and shook his head. "It's okay. She's the heaviest one. If I couldn't even carry Yunyun, I might really be a cripple." Gu Jingzi looked at Lin Che. His gaze pierced through a few people and met her eyes. Lin Che smiled and walked over to hold Gu Jingzi's arm. Gu Jingzi coolly put his hands in his pockets and looked at the family of 3 in front of him. Immerse said, "I was in a rush and didn't have time to buy a gift. This is for Yunyun." He took out a bag. After Yunyun opened the box, she saw that it was a very beautiful crystal hairpin. He was pleasantly surprised. "Wow, it's so beautiful. It seems to be worn by the princess." It was shaped like a crystal crown. It was indeed a hairpin that looked like a princess hat. Immerse said, "Yeah, Yunyun is a little princess." Mu Firan didn't expect him to bring a gift. He didn't look like a meticulous man, but he was so attentive. She couldn't help but feel touched. She looked at Immerse and said, "Thank you for spending money." "It's nothing." Immerse raised his head and looked at Mu Firan. There was a complicated expression in his dark eyes, which made Mu Firan feel as though she was being sucked into a deep abyss. She quickly averted her gaze. Otherwise she would feel a little uncomfortable. Immerse didn't say anything. He smiled faintly and said, "Is the cake finished?" Mu Firan suddenly remembered. "Of course not. There's still cake. Let's eat it together." After the few of them finished the cake, Immerse went to play with Yunyun. With Uncle Mo's company, Yunyun didn't even want Nian anymore and kept playing. Even Lin Che was surprised. He wondered if this was the power of blood. Yunyun was actually so close to Immerse. Or maybe Yunyun had never experienced fatherly love and cherished it even more now. Lin Che looked at Gu Jingzi beside him and said, "Didn't you say you wouldn't come? Why did you still come?" Gu Jingzi said, "I told him and he had to come." Lin Che pursed her lips and said, "But you were still willing to bring him here. It seems that you don't hate him that much." Gu Jingzi looked at her and said, "I was worried that if he didn't come he would make a scene at Qin Yuqing's place and it would be more troublesome. Anyway, he's just here to celebrate his birthday." "Hey, I know." Lin Che held Gu Jingzi's hand and leaned her head on his shoulder. She looked at him intimately and felt very warm with Gu Jingzi by her side. Actually, she didn't think that he was scary at all. On the contrary, he was cold on the outside but warm on the inside. He had always been so good to her and had never been violent. If he wanted to, he could be so good to others. In short, he was a good person. Lin Che also knew that she was probably like this. She liked this man and felt that he was good in every way. Yunyun quickly put on the hair clip that Immerse gave her. She sparkled like a little princess. Mu Firan looked at her with a smile. She felt that Yunyun was very happy and didn't think too much about it. However, when she saw the box with the packaging and saw the film displayed on it, she suddenly felt, this crystal hair clip seemed very expensive. Her heart was in a mess. She looked at Yunyun again, but she had already put it on. She felt that she owed Immerse a lot and felt a little guilty. When Yunyun got tired of playing and fell asleep in Immerse's arms, she quickly carried Yunyun into the room and placed her on the bed. When she saw Immerse standing by the side, her eyes flashed and she slowly looked up with her crystal-like eyes. "Mr. Mo, I'm really sorry for making you come here and making it so late. Yunyun must be very tired playing with you. I shouldn't have let her pester you like this." Immerse looked at her and said, "Why would I? I don't feel tired. Playing with a child is also a form of entertainment for me. I'm also very happy." Mu Firan tucked her hair behind her ear and lowered her head. "But I still feel very sorry. I saw that hair clip just now. So expensive. How could you give such an expensive thing? It's too expensive." Immerse smiled and said, "Yunyun is worth it." His words were so domineering that they didn't know how to reply. Mu Firan looked at him and wanted to say something, but Immerse said, "I'm really sorry. As usual, treat me to a meal." "Just a meal?" Mu Firan said, "Are we still eating at home?" "Yeah. But my cooking isn't that expensive. Whether it's valuable or not depends on the person. If I like something, I think it's valuable. If I don't like something, I don't think it's worth it even if it's sold for billions." Like, Mu Firan felt as if her ears were burning as he stared at her. Chapter 9:12. Mu Firen walked Imogenien out of Mu Firen's house. She looked at his leg and asked, "Is your leg okay?" "Yeah, it's almost healed," Imogenien said. Mu Firen said, "Really? I don't think it's been long. You should rest well. It's a gunshot wound after all." He smiled. "Don't worry, my recovery is better than most people's." Mu Firen was helpless. But she had nothing to do with him, so she could only stand there and smile as he waved goodbye. Men were probably more competitive, although she had never felt this way in the past. In the past, when she was with Emo Ding, she had never thought about what a man should be like. Imogenien, on the other hand, was a completely different man from Emo Ding. His manliness made one feel that she had been blind in the past to like such a coward. Perhaps people had different thoughts at different stages of life. She had been too naive in the past. She would only grow wiser after suffering. Union was sad to see Imogenien leave. She stood there and said, "Mom, when will Uncle Emo come?" Mu Firen hurriedly lowered her head and said to Union, "Uncle Emo has his own things to do, but I believe that since Uncle Emo is your good friend and he likes you so much, he will definitely visit you when he has time." Union knows. But if only he was Dad. If he was Dad, he could play with me every day. Shoo. Mu Firen panicked and covered her mouth to stop her from saying anything more. However, she blushed first. Forget it. What was she thinking? How could Imogenien be? On the other side. When the Gu family of 3 reached home, Lin Che and Gu Jingze let Nian Nian sleep first before they went to their own bedroom. In the bedroom, Nian Nian lifted the blanket, walked to the window and opened it. "Come in," he said as he looked outside. The person who jumped in lowered his head and said, "Young master. Did you find out?" "Young master, your father found out that Imogenien, also known as He Ying, is Mu Firen's Yun's biological father." Gu Xinian was stunned. Indeed. Gu Xinian sat there thinking about what his mother had told him. What does He Ying have to do with our family? Black Eagle might be the illegitimate child of the Gu family. Nian Nian closed his eyes and realized that there were still so many things to do. He waved his hand, indicating that he understood. He really needed some time to accept all this and also needed some time to think about it. He knew who Union's father was and whether he should tell Union. Over there. Gu Jingze had already asked his men to investigate the faction behind Yongling. Lin Che was so focused on filming that he didn't notice that the 2 men at home were busy with their own things. The reality show was released very soon. On the first day, Lin Che watched it with the crew. The edited program was hilarious, and with the help of the subtitles team, some of the details were even more obvious. However, the ratings for the first episode were indeed as high as they had expected. Because of the gimmick from before, it was indeed much higher than expected. However, it was still suppressed by "Take a Trip Together." Everyone was pleasantly surprised but also a little dejected. They felt that it was still not as good as going on a trip together. It was really depressing. The few of them went back after watching the live broadcast feeling a little indignant. However, they still comforted each other in the group, saying that they should take it easy. The show had been around for a few years and had so many hardcore fans. However, the next day, Lin Che had just woken up from the set in a daze when he received a call from Yu Minmin. Thinking that it was a normal greeting, she picked up the phone and said, "You're a pregnant woman, why are you up so early?" Yu Minmin said, "Hey, do you think I remembered? Someone suddenly called me to tell me some good news, so I woke up." "Good news? Something good happened in your family?" Lin Che said. "It's not mine, it's yours. Why did I call you?" "Silly, it's because someone doesn't know that I'm temporarily resting and thinks that I'm still taking care of you at the company, so they called me to tell me the good news." "Ah, what good news?" "You haven't seen the news, right? I know you don't watch the news in the morning. I heard that your show blew up yesterday." "What blew up? The show's ratings?" "Oh, I know what you're talking about. It's pretty good, but it's still quite lacking. It's far worse than going on a trip together." "It's not the ratings, it's the online views. Didn't you see it? After the show ended yesterday, there was a huge response online. The number of online views soared. It's number 1 on all the major charts." "Ah? How could that be?" "It said that the response was good and everyone thinks that it's good. Hurry up and take a look." Lin Che was shocked and quickly opened the webpage to look. It turned out that after the first wave of people went to watch the show yesterday, they immediately went online and posted a lot of clips of the show. There were also a lot of topics about the show. The show was very funny because the guests were all very funny, and the setting of the show was very realistic. It made people feel that there were not many artificial parts. Moreover, the effect of the show was very good. It made people laugh so hard that they couldn't stop laughing. In the show, some people were very satisfied with Lin Che's performance. They had always felt that a show with her wouldn't be bad because she was very funny. Now it seemed that their choice was right. With a few men as a foil, she seemed to have her own special characteristics. Lin Che's comedy was very natural. She looked confused and swayed behind. She said it was fortune-telling, but in the end, it became looking at constellations. Then when she returned, her money was robbed. She immediately learned from others and joined forces to rob money. Everyone felt that it was very funny when a few people played tricks on each other. In the end, they formed two alliances to fight each other. However, they really didn't have money, so they continued to be embarrassed together. It was very cute. There were some interesting scenes such as Lin Che stealing people's clothes while they were sleeping, and the host, Big Brother, replaced the pillow of a little fresh meat with a brick. When Big Brother and Lin Che went to buy lunch for a few people, he even picked the meat into his own bowl and only left some food for the others. These all made people laugh. Then everyone spread the news. Those who didn't watch the live broadcast all ran to watch the online broadcast. In an instant, the number of views went up. Lin Che was just looking at the new topics when the production team immediately called. The director was so excited that he stuttered when he spoke. Chapter 9:13. The director laughed heartily. Over the phone he seemed to be grinning from ear to ear. The director said, "The response this time is not bad. Although the viewership ratings are not as high as Travel Together, the online views are a few million higher than Travel Together." In the morning, the higher-ups of the company called me and told me to start doing all the promotions. They will take on more post-production advertisements and give us a few more commercials. When the advertising fees increase, our pay will increase as well. Lin Che said, "All right, director. Don't be too excited." Of course I'm excited. I've been suppressed by Travel Together for so many years. I've finally surpassed them for once. They've been targeting us for a long time. To tell you the truth, the higher-ups didn't think well of us before. They even heard the director of Travel Together gossiping and gave us so many promotions. Now they know that we're indeed doing better than Travel Together. Lin Che knew that the director was excited, so she could only shake her head and listen to him continue nagging. After listening to him for a long time, she finally hung up. The company was also in a state of jubilation. They said that Lin Che's performance this time was not bad. Now she had shot to first place on the search rankings. Her Weibo was also full and the number of comments had reached tens of thousands. The company had also been booked for many interviews, but Lin Che's interviews were better with the production team, so they were basically rejected. In the crew, Lin Che still had to film. Nan Gongyu looked at her and said, "Not bad. You've become popular again. Hurry up and drive our movie." Lin Che said, "What does it have to do with the movie? Bring more movies during the promotions to fight for the box office. After all, we signed a share agreement, so you'll get a share of the box office, okay?" Lin Che pursed her lips. But Nan Gongyu was actually joking. He couldn't force her to tie him up. Nan Gongyu said, "I've never heard who your husband is. He looks quite rich. Which family's second-generation heir is he from?" Lin Che smiled as she looked at him. "I guess." "Look at you. What do you mean by guess?" Lin Che harumphed and said, "I'm going home first. After filming for today, I'm going home to see my husband." Nan Gongyu shook his head at her speechlessly. He felt that her husband wasn't ordinary, but he had never seen such a person before. It seemed like he was a second-generation heir who hadn't been in the entertainment industry much. Because some rich second-generation heirs had ambiguous relationships with female stars, they often mingled in the entertainment industry and almost became part of the entertainment industry. Although Nan Gongyu seemed to be scowling at Lin Che on the surface, his impression of her was getting better and better. Therefore, when a reporter from Jihu came to interview the production team, he spoke highly of Lin Che's reality show. He said, "Lin Che is usually that stupid, no different from when he's in a reality show." The reporter said, "Are the two of you very close now?" "Yes, we're friends now. I don't casually make friends with people, but Lin Che is an exception. Because she's a rather dumb person, I think I like to make friends with idiots. It makes me seem smarter." Right now Lin Che was very popular, so interviews related to Lin Che were all popular, including Nan Gongyu's. When everyone saw that Nan Gongyu had said so, some of the more literate and angry youths like Nan Gongyu also had a good impression of Lin Che. They felt that since Nan Gongyu, such a harsh and poisonous person, could make friends with her, it could be seen that she was a person worth befriending. When Lin Che returned home, Gu Jingze was talking to someone in the study. The servant said, "Sir is in the study. There are a few guests." Lin Che nodded and walked inside. The servants didn't stop him. Even Gu Jingze wouldn't stop him. Gu Jingze didn't keep anything confidential from his wife. Lin Che could go in and out of the study as he pleased. Therefore, the servants wouldn't stop Lin Che from entering the study. Lin Che didn't care whether it was safe or not. In the study, Gu Jingze was talking to someone about Yang Lingxin. Someone said, "Sir, the people of the berry group seem to be very anxious. As soon as we threw out some bait, they knew about it. It can be seen that the bait we threw out was useless to them." As for Madam, what? Gu Jingze's eyes sharpened when he heard that it was related to Lin Che. "We privately said that we have secret information about Madam and we want to sell it. If it's exposed, it will affect Madam's future in the entertainment industry. They immediately said that they want to buy it. I think we can go and meet this Bai Lui group." Gu Jingze's eyes were faint and gloomy. Since they were targeting Lin Che, he had to go and deal with it. Just then he heard something outside. "Who is it?" The people inside thought that someone was eavesdropping, so they rushed over. "Hey, it's me. Lin Che quickly pushed the door open. "I was passing by and wanted to see what you were doing." Seeing that it wasn't someone eavesdropping but Madam, the people inside the door quickly turned to look at Gu Jingze. Gu Jingze didn't say anything and walked out directly. "You're so rude. Come in quickly." Seeing that Gu Jingze didn't care about Madam's eavesdropping, they quickly lowered their heads and went out. Lin Che said, "I heard you say something about me. What is it?" Gu Jingze held her arm. "How about this? Come with me to Country M in a few days." But, to attend a charity dinner, Gu Jingze said. "Is it very important that you go so far to attend the dinner?" "That's right. I'm going to meet someone." Gu Jingze chose to take the initiative. He didn't wait for him to play tricks on Lin Che, so he went over and told him to stop playing tricks. They all saw what he was up to, so they might as well do it in the open. After all, it was better to fight openly than to stab someone in the back when they couldn't see it. That day, Lin Che and Gu Jingze packed up and rushed to Country M together. M Nation was close to here, a small country near C Nation. It wasn't a big country and there were many descendants of Country C, so there were many people who spoke Country C. Lin Che and Gu Jingze got off the plane. When they arrived outside, they saw many people coming to welcome them. Lin Che paused and looked at Gu Jingze in surprise. She didn't know who the people outside were. Gu Jingze narrowed his eyes and said, "They're from the Yun family." Lin Che was even more stunned. She suddenly remembered that the Yun family's headquarters was in Country M. Gu Jingze held Lin Che's hand and led her down the stairs. A person who looked like a butler from the Yun family walked over respectfully and bowed to Gu Jingze. "Mr. Gu, our old master specially ordered us to welcome you. The room has also been prepared for you." Chapter 9:14. This was the private jet passage of America. When the others heard that old Master Yun was here to pick someone up, they couldn't help but look over. They didn't know who it was that could receive such a high treatment. The Yun family was a military tycoon in America. They were the descendants of a general and a big family. Old Master Yun lived in seclusion all year round. Why did he send someone to pick up this young man? Everyone looked at Gu Jingze curiously. Gu Jingze looked at the people below. He looked indifferent. He didn't seem to be moved by the Yun family's politeness at all. "I don't think I told the Yun family that I'm coming," he said. "Yes, but since you're in the M Nation's territory, we definitely know," the butler said with a smile. Although he looked respectful, he still felt that this was the M Nation after all, and Gu Jingze had to give face to the Yun family. This was his own territory and he didn't need to be so humble. No matter how rich and powerful Gu Jingze was, he was still not a citizen of the C Nation. No matter how big and rich the C Nation was, it was the country's business and it had nothing to do with Gu Jingze. The Yun family was used to being domineering in America, but they weren't afraid of anyone. Hence he looked a little arrogant. Gu Jingze glanced at him coldly and took Lin Che's arm. No need. I'm not used to staying in other people's places. I'll stay at the Gu Hotel in America. There's no need to trouble you, old master. After that, Gu Jingze didn't even look at him and left with Lin Che. The people around them were stunned. They couldn't help but wonder who this arrogant young man was. He didn't even give face to the Yun family. Was he crazy? The housekeeper of the Yun family was also directly hit with a nose full of rebuff. He was embarrassed and angry and didn't know what to say for a moment. This Gu Jingze was too arrogant. He didn't even give face to the Yun family. The butler thought angrily, you think you're in America? I'll complain about you when I get back. Lin Che followed Gu Jingze out of the private passage. She felt that the people around them were still staring at them. She couldn't help but feel weird. She said, the Yun family actually came to pick you up. Gu Jingze said, even if they pick us up we won't go. Lin Che pursed his lips. He's picking you up, not us. He only invited you just now. Gu Jingze looked at her. In the end, she also had times when she was smart. She could also hear this. That's why I didn't even bother to look at him. Isn't that avenging you? Hearing his words, Lin Che laughed and said, forget it. I'm already used to being your foil. Gu Jingze said, all right, you're the most important person in my heart. You're not my foil no matter where I am. Hearing this, Lin Che felt a sweetness in his heart. He raised his head and looked at Gu Jingze. Are you serious? Of course, if you don't believe me you can listen. He held her hand and put it on his chest. His heartbeat was sonorous and powerful. Lin Che said, all right. Everyone's watching. The two of them showed off their love and left Country's international airport without looking back. When they arrived at the hotel, he asked someone to deliver the invitation. It was the time of the charity dinner. It was tomorrow night. Gu Jingze asked someone to deliver the gown that Lin Che was going to wear. Looking at the invitation, the corner of his lips curled up. He asked, are the people from Berry Group going? Sir. Mr. Han from Berry Group has confirmed that he'll be going, but I don't know if he'll be bringing his wife. Let me see Han Qing'an's investigation form. Sir, here it is. All the documents are here. Han Qing'an, 56 years old, childless. He started Berry Group from scratch and was now one of the top 100 companies in the world. In Country, Han Qing'an was the third richest person. It seemed that he was quite capable. However, Gu Jingze really didn't know why he had a problem with Lin Che. What kind of grudge did they have? At the Yun family's house. Old Master Yun looked at the butler. Where is he? Yun Chi's face was full of wrinkles. His hair had turned silver and he had a goatee, which made him look like a traditional old man. The butler added fuel to the fire with a long face. Old Master, Gu Jingze really didn't give you any face. I told him that Old Master invited him, but he said that he didn't want to live in someone else's place. I said that it was Old Master's kind intention, but he insisted that he didn't inform the Yun family to pick him up. It was the Yun family who offered to pick him up. He even said, that's enough. Anyway, you didn't get him. Yun Chi frowned and interrupted him. The butler quickly shrank back. Yun Chi said, look at you, you useless thing. I knew that you didn't listen to me. I told you to be respectful and humble yourself. You must have said something disrespectful and made him unhappy. I knew that Gu Jingze was smart. How could he not see through your playboy thoughts? He saw it a long time ago. I don't care about it. I'm just worried that he will look down on the Yun family. That's enough. He's our honored guest in Country. What do you know? You always act on your own and think that you're great. The butler was scolded. He felt that Old Master Yun had become timid as he got older. Yun Chi said, I have to think of a way for my little granddaughter to help her. We can't drag her down. Before, her unreliable father went to find Black Hawk for no reason, which already made her lose face. This time we can't lose the face of the Yun family. Then, Yun Chi said, aren't they going to Bairui's charity banquet? Let Yun Luo come back too. Yes. The butler thought that Yun Luo was already married. Why would the Yun family's daughter marry someone who was already married? A second marriage wouldn't sound good. However, for some reason the Yun family seemed to like Gu Jingze. The butler had no choice but to leave to make arrangements. He thought that if the Yun family wanted to get close to Bairui, They must have some ulterior motives. However, the Yun family had a good relationship with Bairue and they often visited M country. When the time came, he would show Gu Jingze that if he wanted to get close to Bairue without the Yun family's approval, he would have to see if Bairue was easy to get close to. Did the Gu family really think that they were powerful? The preparations for the charity banquet were over. Lin Che and Gu Jingze got out of the car and looked at the streets of M country. It was a little cold. Gu Jingze draped a shawl over her shoulders and held her hand as they walked inside. Lin Che said, "It looks like there's not much difference between M country and C country." Gu Jingze said, "The prosperous areas are naturally similar. There are many Chinese here. When we're free, I'll take you around to see the local customs." Chapter 9:15. Is that so? That's great, Lin Che said to Gu Jingze, and the two of them soon arrived inside. They put down their things and walked into the hall. Lin Che saw that there were some familiar faces among those who came to the M country to participate in these activities. After all, the two countries were neighboring countries and the M country's territory was relatively small, so many business cooperation was with C country. Therefore, some famous businessmen from C country would also move around here. Seeing that Gu Jingze was here, everyone came over to greet him. "Master Gu is here too," someone said. Gu Jingze smiled and put his arm around Lin Che. "This is my wife." That person quickly said, "Mrs. Gu is young and beautiful. She's a good match for you, Master Gu." Lin Che thanked him politely. Looking at Gu Jingze, he felt that he had mentioned it on purpose. That person chatted for a while and Gu Jingze found an excuse to leave. Not long after, the news spread that Gu Jingze was really nice to his wife. He greeted him and introduced his wife first as if he was afraid that others wouldn't know. Someone else came to greet Gu Jingze and looked at him in surprise. "Master Gu, you rarely come to Country M. You're a rare guest today." Gu Jingze said, "It's a coincidence that I'm here. Oh yeah, I heard that Mr. Han from Berry Group will be here too." Gu Jingze raised his head slightly when he heard about Berry Group. He looked at him and said, "Oh, really? He should be here soon. He doesn't like to come out usually, but it's a charity gala today. He's passionate about charity, so he's here." "Oh, so he's not here yet." "Yeah, but he should be here soon. I heard that he's already on his way." Gu Jingze smiled. He looked like he was chatting happily, but there was a hint of slyness in his eyes. However, at that moment, outside, Yun Luo walked into the hotel with a few servants following her. She was wearing a white miniskirt. She looked weak, but the people in the hall couldn't help turning their heads to look at her. She was the only daughter of the Yun family. When Yun Luo walked in, everyone looked at her expectantly. Lin Che turned his head too. Then he saw Yun Luo walking over aggressively. It wasn't overbearing, but Lin Che saw it as overbearing. That confident look on his face was much more impressive than when he was in Country C. She heard someone say from behind, "Yun Luo from the Yun family is here too. What day is it today? Is this charity banquet that important? This little princess doesn't usually come out." "That's right. Why would she come out? She doesn't need to come out. Do you think everyone is like a social butterfly who comes out to socialize with people every day?" They said that whoever marries Yun Luo is marrying the M nation because their family controls the entire military of the M nation. Lin Che thought these people are really dreamy. Marrying her was equivalent to marrying America. However, at this moment the discussions behind them stopped abruptly because they noticed that Yun Luo was walking towards them. Lin Che looked at the approaching Yun Luo. She smiled, her eyes clearly only focused on Gu Jingze. However, she still failed to notice Lin Che, who was standing to the side. Yun Luo smiled and said, "Jingze, you really came. Grandpa told me, but I was still very surprised." Gu Jingze glanced at her. "I'm here for business. I'll go back after I'm done." Yun Luo said, "Ah, I heard someone say that you're here to visit Boss Han of Bai Lui Group. Boss Han has quite a good relationship with the Yun family. If it's possible, I can introduce you to him." Gu Jingze smiled. "No need. I'm not here to visit. I'm just here to take a look. If there's a chance to meet, we can get to know each other. If not, it's fine. It's not important anyway." After Gu Jingze finished speaking, he didn't look at Yun Luo anymore. Instead, he pulled Lin Che aside and lowered his head to ask, "Do you want to eat anything? You didn't eat anything on the way here. Are you hungry?" Lin Che nodded. He thought that he wanted to find an excuse to leave, so he nodded and said, "My stomach has been growling for a long time. I want to eat the snacks over there." "Go. I'll help you get it." The two of them left hand in hand. Yun Luo was a little embarrassed, but she looked at the people beside her and still followed them. "Country M has a lot of specialties. Come and try the local delicacies here," Yun Luo said as she moved closer to them. Behind them, there were many local businessmen from Country M who didn't know Gu Jingze. Because Gu Jingze hadn't been to Country M much, they weren't familiar with him. So when they saw so many famous businessmen bowing and greeting a young man, they couldn't help but wonder who this man was. At first he had been surprised, but now he saw that the young lady of the Yun family didn't even look at anyone. Instead she walked straight toward the handsome man. Gu Jingze had become the center of attention the moment he entered the room. At this moment he had become the most dazzling person in the room. Gu Jingze looked at Yun Luo and coldly pushed away her approaching hand. "My wife doesn't like Country M's food. She doesn't like sweets." Yun Luo was stunned. Just when she was so embarrassed that she didn't know how to get out of this embarrassing situation, she heard someone suddenly say, "Boss Han is here. Han Qingzhen is here." Gu Jingze raised his head and faintly looked in the direction of everyone's gaze. They saw a tall man who was neither fat nor thin. He had a gentlemanly aura about him as he approached from afar. As he walked, he shook hands with the passers-by. It seemed that he was a modest and decent person. He had the aura of a scholarly businessman. However, he was actually here alone. Gu Jingze narrowed his eyes and looked around. He didn't see his mysterious wife. At this moment, on the other side, beside Han Qingzhen, someone suddenly lowered his head and whispered into Han Qingzhen's ear. Han Qingzhen raised his head slightly. When he looked over, his gaze was directly fixed on Gu Jingze. Their eyes met. Gu Jingze's gaze was deep and serene. Han Qingzhen looked a little surprised. Then a sneer suddenly appeared on Han Qingzhen's seemingly temperamental face. "Boss Han, Gu Jingze is actually here." "This," someone at the side said in a low voice. Han Qingzhen raised his hand slightly and said, "Don't be anxious. He's here. What's there to be afraid of? But looking at him, I don't know if he's here for us. Even if he is, so what?" Han Qingzhen said. "To be able to attract him so quickly, this young man, is not simple." He chuckled and walked in Gu Jingze's direction. Boss Gu, seeing is believing. He reached out his hand and shook Gu Jingze's hand. Gu Jingze smiled and said, "Nice to meet you. I thought that I wouldn't have the chance to meet you in this lifetime. If you hadn't purposely come looking for me and played dirty tricks, we might not have had the chance to meet." There was no need to say the last sentence. Both of them were smart people. It went without saying. Chapter 9:16. Han Qingzhen said, "How could that be? A person's fate might be intertwined when you don't even think about it." Gu Jingze said, "What do you mean, Phil Han? Can you explain it more clearly?" Han Qingzhen smiled. "Young man, don't be too impatient." Gu Jingze said, "All right, maybe I should put it another way. Phil Han, we've always minded our own business. It might be fine if we can continue like this, but if I find out that someone threatens my wife's safety, I might not care about the tradition of respecting the elderly anymore." Han Qingzhen's gaze was fixed on Gu Jingze's cold gaze. Gu Jingze was a little arrogant. He actually dared to talk to him like this in Country M's territory. He hadn't been threatened like this in many years, especially by such a young man. Han Qingzhen looked at this arrogant young man and narrowed his eyes. No one knew what he was thinking. Then, "Uncle Han." A girl joined them obediently. Han Qingzhen looked over and saw Yun Luo walking over. He didn't look at Gu Jingze anymore and greeted Yun Luo. "Luo, why are you here? How have you been recently?" "I'm fine. Thank you for your concern, Uncle Han. My illness has made too many people worry." "It's okay. Don't think of it as a burden," Han Qingzhen said with a smile. Yun Luo looked at Gu Jingze and said quickly, "Oh yeah, Uncle Han, do you know Jingze?" Han Qingzhen looked at Gu Jingze and said, "No, not really." Yun Luo said, "Then," Gu Jingze said, "from today onwards we know each other. However, whether we're friends or enemies depends on our choices in the future." Yun Luo suddenly felt that the relationship between the two of them wasn't that simple. Wasn't Gu Jingze here to visit Han Qingzhen? That was why her grandfather told her to come and help so that Gu Jingze would look at her in a different light. But looking at the two of them now, it didn't seem like they were here to visit. Although the two of them stood there and didn't seem to be anything between them, it still felt like there was something flowing in the air. Gu Jingzi said, "Take your time." He pulled Lin Che away. Lin Che turned around and looked at the man called Han Qingzhen. Han Qingzhen narrowed his eyes as he looked at Lin Che. Suddenly, his gaze sharpened. Lin Che didn't know if he was seeing things, but he felt that Han Qingzhen's gaze. He seemed to be very resentful. However, Lin Che did not feel that he had just offended this man. After they left, Lin Che looked up at Gu Jingzi and asked, "What happened just now? Did you come to the party because you wanted to see him?" Gu Jingzi didn't know what to say. "Sort of," Gu Jingzi said. Lin Che said, "Who exactly is he?" "The third richest man in M Nation." "Ah, it sounds very powerful, but why do I feel that?" Lin Che lowered his head slightly. "Think what?" "Nothing, it's just." Lin Che thought, forget it, don't say, maybe she just saw wrong. After all, she really didn't know this man and there was no conflict. Don't let your imagination run wild. Gu Jingzi narrowed his eyes and looked at Han Qingzhen, who was opposite him. Since it was a charity banquet, of course there would be charity donations and auctions. After everyone had arrived, everyone sat in the seats with number tags and watched the warm-up performance begin. The MC also passionately walked onto the stage while dancing. Some of the famous items being auctioned today are really amazing. Many generous philanthropists have donated, and there are even some rare treasures that rarely appear in the market. I hope that everyone can auction off the things that you like while doing charity. Have a good time, everyone. Lin Che looked at Gu Jingzi and said, "Are we going to auction off anything later? Are we donating anything?" "We are donating. You can bid for anything you like later." "Me? But I don't know which one is worth it." "Since it's charity, it doesn't matter if it's worth it or not. Anyway, the money will be used to help others." "Right?" Lin Che felt that it made sense. "Okay, then don't be angry if I bid for something messy later." Gu Jingzi smiled and pinched her cheek. They were being intimate here without restraint. After a while, the items being auctioned started to be introduced one by one. The items that could be brought up were actually not messy. After all, everyone still wanted to save face. Lin Che looked at the items. There were treasures that had been passed down from generation to generation. There were also limited edition items, but Lin Che was not interested in any of them. However, halfway through the auction, nothing had been auctioned yet. Suddenly, she thought that it wouldn't be good if she didn't bid for anything since it was a charity event. In the end, she still had to buy something. At this moment, she saw another item being brought up. It was a nice-looking sword pendant. It looked quite cool. She remembered that she knew fencing too. Although it was different from this kind of sword, it was still a sword. She could buy it and put it on top of the fencing sword she had bought at home. Anyway, that fencing sword was no longer used for fencing. It was just a memento. Lin Che thought about it carefully. He picked up the plate in front of him and called out a number. The MC smiled and introduced, "There's a beautiful lady over there. She has good taste. This kind of pendant is really hard to find nowadays." Lin Che smiled slightly. He felt that everyone was curious and turned to see who it was. However, at this moment, a man behind him stood up and called out a number. The MC said, It seems that this lady has a competitor." The corner of Gu Jingzi's lips twitched slightly. He said to Lin Che, "Continue." Lin Che immediately raised his plate. The man on the other side was not to be outdone. He immediately raised his plate. Lin Che and him had exchanged blows a few times, but neither of them had the intention of giving up. Gu Jingzi looked in that direction. His eyes flickered slightly. Then he said to Lin Che, "Continue." Lin Che almost wanted to give up. Hearing Gu Jingzi's words, she quickly said, "Forget it. It's not that special anyway." Gu Jingzi said, "No, we have to get it. Since someone is purposely causing trouble, we naturally can't admit defeat so quickly." "What? Purposely causing trouble?" Gu Jingzi glanced over. Lin Che looked at the man with one big eye and one small eye. It was clear that he was purposely fighting with her. Lin Che said, "Then now, don't worry. Continue." Lin Che directly raised his plate. They went back and forth, no one giving way. This made the MC a little worried. "Both of you, this accessory has already exceeded its value. Why don't both of you take a look at the booklet and see if there's anything else you like? We understand that everyone is charitable, but there's no need to spend too much on one item." Chapter 9:17. That man was a tycoon from Country M. From the moment Gu Jingzi came in, he had already looked down on him. He felt that he was an unfamiliar face. After coming in, he had ignored everyone. He had only met the Han family and the Yun family before disappearing. Now that he had come out, he really thought that he was a big shot. Even if you came from somewhere else, you should know the rule. Once you're in someone else's territory, you should be more humble. At least pay a visit to the tycoons here. But he didn't. Furthermore, he actually had that kind of relationship with Yun Luo from the Yun family. In Country M, many people had sent invitations to the Yun family, saying that they wanted to meet Yun Luo, that they were interested in her and wanted to get to know her. However, the Yun family had found an excuse to reject them. Now, this unreachable princess actually had such a good relationship with him. She went over to talk to him and ignored everyone else. Was Yun Luo blind? Everyone was furious, but no one had the chance to voice it out. Because he didn't even look at them. Even if they were angry, they had no one to voice it out. Therefore, he was so angry that he decided to confront Gu Jingzi at this time. After hearing what the MC said, he stood up and said, "That won't do unless he gives up. I like it just by looking at it. Moreover, it's for charity. I don't care about spending more money. It all depends on whether he gives up or not. Anyway, I will definitely hold up this sign to the end." Gu Jingzi didn't even turn his head. He sat on the velvet sofa with one leg crossed. He calmly picked up the coffee cup in front of him and quietly took a sip. Then, with a cold expression, he said, "Then let's continue filming." The organizer of the event had no choice. Looking at these tycoons, they thought that they were all people who cared about their image. It looked like they could only continue and see who couldn't take it anymore. But after a few more rounds, the organizer couldn't take it anymore. "Gentlemen, why don't you think about it privately? Although we are very happy to have raised so much money, we want to make sure that it's worth it. We don't want to waste everyone's money. We are not unscrupulous fundraisers. We still want to give everyone something good to make everyone happy today." The man snorted again and said, "This is all I want." At this moment, Gu Jingzi suddenly stood up. He looked much taller than the man behind him. He looked behind him and said calmly, "Give up. I'll give you another share of the auction price. Consider it your reward for giving up." The crowd was in an uproar. What did he mean? Gu Jingzi said, "In other words, the current auction price is 13 million yuan. I've paid it and I'll give you 13 million yuan as your reward." Everyone understood at once. He was really good at humiliating people. The man said, "Ha, what do you mean? Do you think I want your money? Do you think I want it?" Gu Jingzi said slowly, "I advise you to bid because if the auction price is higher, I may not be willing to bid." When the man heard this, he immediately said, "Ha, if you can't afford it, just give up. I don't care. Even if it rises to 100 million, I can still afford it." He felt that he had been humiliated. Of course, he wouldn't give up so easily. Gu Jingzi snorted and said, "No, you're wrong. I don't care how much it costs, but I don't think I can give you a higher price because..." He smiled and said, "You're only worth this much." After being provoked by Gu Jingzi, the man's face immediately turned purple like a frosted eggplant. He was so angry that he looked like he was about to pounce on him. "How dare you humiliate me like this? Where did this bastard come from? Do you want to die? How dare you be so arrogant in America? Who do you think you are?" No one had ever seen such an arrogant person. Looking at Gu Jingzi, the crowd was in chaos. The rich people present were also talking among themselves. Gu Jingzi didn't want to take a step back at all. He looked at the man and said, "What kind of humiliation is this? I think I gave you a high price because I didn't want to trouble you. Don't stop me. I'm going to kill this man." He was mad. He stood there and shouted at Gu Jingzi, "Humph, you're just a kid. How dare you come to America and behave atrociously? Do you know who I am? Humph, I'll show you how you're going to get out of this mess after you've provoked me." Needless to say, those who could attend this event were all rich people. America wasn't big, so everyone should have seen a rich person before. If they hadn't seen him before, he was obviously not from America. Gu Jingzi raised his chin proudly and said, "Okay, I'm not only going to get out of here, but I'm also going to bring you out with me so that I can help everyone here clean up." These words were clearly beating around the bush, calling him trash. The man was so angry that he immediately shouted, "Men, come in. Ha, I haven't exercised my muscles for a long time. My men are already rubbing their palms together. It's been a year and a half since no one came to help me practice and now you're here? After a while the people outside rushed in. In the blink of an eye, a dense mass of people filled the arc-shaped auditorium. Everyone knew that this man was a famous gangster in America. He started his career in the underworld. Although he had taken the legal route later, he still had a lot of thugs at home. Although his background wasn't pure, his family was now a rich man in America and he had a good foundation. It could be said that the people who could come here today had a good background. Those who weren't qualified couldn't enter at all. Everyone looked at Gu Jingze. Although there were a few security guards standing behind him, they still looked like they were alone. The man's face suddenly became arrogant. He looked at them and snorted coldly, "What are you looking at? You want to take back what you said just now? Let me tell you it's too late. I'll show you what happens when you shout for no reason." Gu Jingze slowly glanced at these people. Although they looked imposing, these people, they obviously didn't have good skills. Gu Jingze's eyes slowly fell on the man. His voice was still soft but there was no warmth at all. "I'll return the same words to you as usual." Then he signaled with his eyes and the people who suddenly barged in quickly surrounded those thugs. The thugs who were arrogant just a moment ago suddenly became vulnerable and were pushed to the center of the crowd. They were replaced by Gu Jingze's men who stood there neatly, each of them as straight as an electric pole. Gu Jingze said, "I've never been polite to people like you. Now tell me, how do you want to get out of here? I'll fulfill your wish." All of a sudden his arrogance burned the entire venue. Chapter 9:18. The man snorted. "Ha, I don't believe that you dare to do anything to me. Look at how smug you are. You think you're so great because you have so many people? If you have the guts, just throw me away. I'll make sure that you'll be able to walk out of country alive." Gu Jingze sneered. "Did you hear that?" He said to the bodyguards, "I just said that no matter what he says, we'll do it to him." When the bodyguards heard that, they immediately walked towards the man. At first, the man straightened his back in disbelief. But now he was suddenly a little worried. However, he still didn't dare to show it on his face. He only looked outside as if he was calculating whether this man would really dare to do that. However, he didn't know that Gu Jingze was a man of his word. With a glance, the bodyguards quickly walked forward. The man was quite frightened. He kept retreating and quickly said to his men, hurry up, hurry up. What are you looking at?" Those people wanted to come forward but they were all blocked by Gu Jingze's men. Even if they didn't block them, they actually didn't dare to come forward when they saw so many people. Especially when these people didn't look ordinary. They were much stronger than them. When the man saw this, he was about to sweat. He shouted, "How dare you treat me like this? Believe it or not, you may be proud now but you'll suffer tomorrow." No matter how much the man yelled, he was still lifted up by someone. Then a few people carried him and walked out. The man's howls didn't stop until they were outside. Everyone looked out curiously. Indeed, he was thrown out horizontally. He fell to the ground and rolled a few times. Everyone couldn't help but want to laugh. They didn't expect him to be so arrogant for so many years. He had always walked around everywhere like a hedonistic son of a rich family. Now he had learned his lesson. However, even so, everyone was still surprised. They didn't know who the man in front of them was and how he dared to treat him like this. Someone said, "Hey young man, that's a local tyrant. If you really offend him, it'll be troublesome." Gu Jingze didn't look at them. He just said indifferently, "I, Gu Jingze, am least afraid of trouble." Gu Jingze? He's Gu Jingze. When did Gu Jingze come to country? We didn't even get the news. Oh my god, he just arrived in M Nation and he already dares to be so arrogant. Everyone knew who Gu Jingze was. They kept discussing and looking at Gu Jingze. They didn't expect to see this person in person. They had only heard of him. Now that they saw him in person, he was very different from what they had imagined. While everyone was still in shock, Gu Jingze sat down and said to the people in front of him, "All right, does that auction item belong to us now?" The host and the host were completely stunned. When they saw Gu Jingze looking at them as if there was no one else around, they remembered that they were still in the middle of the auction. The MC hurriedly said, "Yes, yes, yes." He looked at this man with a fawning gaze. At first he didn't think it was a big deal, but after seeing his domineering actions he couldn't help but admire him. There was actually such a person in the world. Gu Jingzi took the auction item and handed it to Lin Che. Then he raised his head and saw Han Qingzhen through the crowd. He narrowed his eyes and looked at them. There was a faint smile on his lips. Lin Che looked at Gu Jingzi and felt a little strange. This wasn't Gu Jingzi's usual style, but she felt that there must be a reason for him to do this. An auction and an episode like this were spread by many people. In the end, there were many versions of it that were spread by the people outside. As for Gu Jingzi, after the auction he brought Lin Che to the front to eat. When Yun Luo wanted to look for him, she was told that he had already gone out. Yun Luo stood there angrily. However, she heard the people passing by talking about what had just happened. That Gu Jingzi is really arrogant. But I heard that the Gu family covers the sky in Sea Nation. No one knows how much money he has. He keeps a low profile and his strength is amazing. No matter what, he was really domineering just now. Is that woman beside him his female companion? He pampers her so much. When he says he wants to bid for this, he bids for this. He doesn't even care about getting into conflict with others. How blissful. When Yun Luo heard this, she felt even more annoyed. She secretly clenched her hands and couldn't help but think, what right does Lin Che have? Who does she think she is to dominate Gu Jingzi? She was at a disadvantage because of her heart disease. She didn't dare to go out since she was young. Otherwise, Lin Che wouldn't have a chance. Outside, Gu Jingzi and Lin Che were eating together. On Lin Che's side there was the auction item. She picked it up and looked at it. She felt that this item had suddenly become very valuable. She looked at Gu Jingzi and said, I don't dare to take this item back. Gu Jingzi said, this item isn't worth much, but I definitely didn't waste the money. Why? Lin Che asked curiously. Gu Jingzi said, I'm doing this for others to see. I want to tell the person who wants to play tricks on me behind my back that I'm not afraid of his tricks. He shouldn't underestimate my capabilities. If he wants to go against me, he should think about whether it's worth it or not, and how much strength he needs to use to go against me. Oh. Lin Che seemed to understand. She looked at Gu Jingzi and said, all right, I understand. So that's the reason. She knew that Gu Jingzi wasn't usually such an arrogant person. She wiped her mouth and said, I'm going to the washroom. Okay, let someone go with you, Gu Jingzi said. Lin Che's people were always following her. She had just used the washroom and was washing her hands when she felt someone pushing the door open and standing next to her. Lin Che didn't notice and accidentally splashed water on her arm. She couldn't help but raise her head and said, sorry. It's okay, it's okay. The lady beside her smiled gently. She looked peaceful and kind. And this person's appearance? Lin Che looked at her and suddenly froze. This person looked very familiar. Very familiar. Seeing that he was staring at her, the lady turned her head slightly. The smile on her slightly smiling face was even wider. What's wrong? Lin Che suddenly reacted and said, oh, nothing. You look very familiar. I'm not sure if I've seen you before. The lady looked at Lin Che too. Her eyes narrowed into slits as she smiled. Really? She looked at Lin Che carefully as if trying to see if she had seen him before. Well, I also think you look familiar. The lady stared at him and her eyes suddenly sparkled. But I don't know if I've seen you before. What's your name? Chapter 919. I'm Lin Che, Lin Che said. What about you? Me. My name is Fang Zichen, she said. Lin Che had never heard of this name before. She lowered her head and thought about it. She did feel that she had seen it somewhere before, but she couldn't remember clearly. The woman shook her head. I've never heard of your name before. Are you the daughter of some rich family in country M? She wasn't a rich family. Lin Che smiled bitterly and shook his head. No, I'm from country C. Oh, I see. You're a guest from afar. We all feel that you look familiar. Maybe we've met in our past lives, right, young lady? Lin Che could only smile. Yeah, maybe. Lin Che said, then auntie, I'll leave first. See you again if there's a chance. Hey, young lady. Take your time. She watched Lin Che leave, still feeling strange. She felt an inexplicable sense of familiarity when she saw this young lady. When Lin Che went out, he was shocked. Apart from his own people, there were also some strange women outside. She was stunned for a moment before she remembered that the woman just now looked like she came from a rich family. It seemed that she had followed her here. Puzzled, she turned back to take a look. then hurriedly left with her people. And inside, the woman was a little dizzy. She leaned against the door and rested for a while. Just then the people outside hurried in. Madam, what's wrong? Are you feeling unwell? The woman shook her head. I'm fine. You're all too nervous. Maybe the air here is not good. I'm a little dizzy. Sir must be even more worried when he sees you fainting here. Please come out with me. The few of them hurriedly helped Fong Zichen out. When they were outside, Han Qingzhen couldn't wait any longer. He hurried over. Zichen, what took you so long? Fong Zichen said, It's nothing. I'm just feeling a little uncomfortable. I'm fine now. Han Qingzhen's expression changed. Come here quickly. Let me see. I'm really fine. Don't be too nervous. When you're nervous, I'm nervous too. He went back and forth to check on her. Seeing that she was fine, he was relieved. Let's go home first. The two of them walked out together. She couldn't help but say, Oh yeah, I saw someone just now. Thought it was weird. Han Qingzhen said, Who is it? A girl in the bathroom. I saw her and thought she looked familiar, but she said she wasn't from M country. I don't think I've seen her before, but why does it feel so strange? Han Qingzhen's expression changed drastically, and he stopped in his tracks. Who did you see? She said her name is Lin Che. Do we know her? Fong Zichen said. Han Qingzhen's expression changed unpredictably as he stood there in silence for a long time. She looked even more puzzled. Oh, is there a problem? No, let's go, we haven't seen her before. He smiled, held her arm and led her out intimately. Later on, the servants were already used to this situation. Their husband was very attentive and doted on his wife. Even though they didn't have children, they had been loving each other for so many years. She couldn't help but admire her husband's love. However, when they arrived at the Han family, Han Qingzhen let Fong Zichen sleep first and then went to the study. He clasped his hands behind his back and after a long silence he said, Pay attention in the future. Once this Lin Che enters the country, lock down the entire country. Tell me her location directly and don't let Madam see her again. Sir. And he turned around. Bring me Madam's information. Sir. He opened the information that the servant brought and looked at the documents inside. Fong Zichen, 54 years old, childless, born in C country, came to M country at the age of 12, and graduated from Sonming City Women's University. There was no trace of the past in the information. Actually, if Lin Che's arrival hadn't made her feel familiar, he would never have suspected that there would be any mistakes in the information. After all, those who knew about the past were basically dead or gone. As for Zichen, from that year onwards she had lost her memory and would never remember anyone from the past. It was at that time that he slowly got to know her. But could it be the nature of a mother and daughter? She actually felt familiar when she saw Lin Che. If that was the case, he really couldn't let her see Lin Che again. Lin Che followed Gu Jingze back to the hotel. On the way back, Lin Che was still puzzled. She didn't know what the problem was that made her confused. It was as if there was a hole in her heart that had not been plugged up. At this moment, she thought of Fong Zichen's face and suddenly felt that it was very familiar. She suddenly had a flash of inspiration. She had indeed seen that face before. She suddenly grabbed Gu Jingze, who was beside her. Gu Jingze, let's go back to the hotel. Let's go back to the hotel now. What's wrong? There's something. Let's talk about it when we get back. I'll let you know when I'm sure. Gu Jingze looked at her doubtfully. He didn't ask any more questions and directly asked the driver to drive faster. The car arrived at the hotel in a short while. After getting out of the car, Lin Che ran straight into the room and took out the computer that was placed in the room. She always carried her own computer with her in case the company needed to use it. She turned on the computer and flipped through the photos of the past. Among the photos there was a photo that was very obvious. It was her mother, suing Gu Jingze, I remember now. Her heart was in turmoil. She suddenly thought of something unbelievable and unbelievable. What's wrong? Lin Che pulled Gu Jingze over and said, Just now in the bathroom I saw a woman. For a moment I felt that she looked like someone I knew but I couldn't remember. Just now I suddenly remembered that she looked like me. I don't usually look at myself, so when I looked at her like this, of course I couldn't remember. But I suddenly remembered that I look like my mother, don't I? Look, this person is my mother. She pointed at the photo and looked at Gu Jingze. Gu Jingze was stunned. Then he looked at the photo and suddenly paused. He had seen this person before. At that time he felt that she looked like her, but he couldn't remember at the moment. What's the name of the person you saw? Gu Jingze asked seriously. Oh, her name is Fang Zichen. Indeed. Gu Jingze said, that person. She's Han Qing'an's wife. Who? Is she, the person you saw before? Yes, she's the person I saw at the dinner party. Oh, that's strange. That's really strange. There are people who look so alike in this world. Although they're a little different, they still look alike. Chapter 920. Gu Jingze said, yeah, it's magical. Lin Che rested his chin on his hand and sighed. But she's definitely not my mother anymore. Why? Because my mother has been dead for so many years. Lin Che thought about it and sighed. Do you think my mother has other sisters? Alright, don't think so much. Let's rest first. We'll think about it tomorrow. Lin Che nodded and leaned on Gu Jingze's shoulder. I'm so tired today. So the reason you brought me here was to knock down a mountain and shake up a tiger. Come, hurry up and serve me. Help me relax my muscles and bones. As she spoke, she hooked her arm around his neck and pointed at her calf. How do you want to serve me? Gu Jingze moved closer with a sinister smile on his face. Lin Che pushed him away. You're so annoying. Aren't you going to massage my leg after a long day? Come. Gu Jingze said, you want me to massage your leg? Of course. Isn't this what a husband should do? She leaned against him proudly and looked pleased with herself. Gu Jingze shook his head and looked at her speechlessly. But he still reached out and massaged her calf. Does it hurt here? Yes. Lin Che could feel his big hands moving on his legs. Gu Jingze said, is this okay? Yes, it's comfortable. It's really comfortable, she said with a smile. Gu Jingze glared at her and continued to massage her leg. Because Gu Jingze's arm strength and grip were good, the feeling of strength when he grabbed her leg was very comfortable. It seemed that his usual training was not a waste of time. She sighed in enjoyment. Someone wanted to come in but was stopped by Gu Jingze's people. The person outside said in surprise, it's the information sir asked for. The bodyguard gave him a look and looked into the room. Gu Jingze was massaging Madame's feet. That person hurriedly stared at it for a moment before turning his head away. Only when Gu Jingze finished did someone come in and said, sir, the information you asked for is here. Gu Jingze grunted, then said to Lin Che, all right, you rest first, I'll be right there. He moved closer to Lin Che's ear and said, I served you so well just now. In a while, it's your turn to serve me. Lin Che pushed him away with a red face. Scram. Gu Jingze smiled and walked out. When he was outside, his expression was no longer as carefree as before. Instead, he walked to another room with a serious expression. How is it? Sir, the information is here. Han Qing'an's wife, Fang Zichen, did not live in C country for long. She moved to M country when she was a teenager. Gu Jingze said, that's impossible. She must have something to do with Lin Che. That's why she sent someone to deal with Lin Che. Things couldn't be so coincidental. There had to be some kind of relationship between them for them to target Lin Che. Especially now that she realized that she looked somewhat similar to Lin Che. Fang Zichen, what was the relationship between them? Gu Jingze narrowed his eyes and said, send someone to investigate the death of Madame's mother, Su Ying. Yes. At the Han residence. Han Qingzhen looked at his wife who was sleeping soundly and gently covered her with the blanket. He endured it silently and walked out without saying a word. He did not sleep that night. It was not until the morning that someone came to tell him that Gu Jingze had left M country with Lin Che. However, Gu Jingze had checked on Madame's information at night. Han Qingzhen wondered if he had been too obvious and impatient. That was why he had been discovered in advance. He could have brought everything into his coffin and accompanied Zichen day by day. But he couldn't take it lying down and wanted to take revenge. But he never expected that Gu Jingze would be able to track him down with just a hint of a clue. Was he too careless or was Gu Jingze too sensitive? After yesterday, M country was filled with Gu Jingze's name. Everyone knew that Gu Jingze had been arrogant for the whole night. He had thrown the M country's domineering playboy out of the door and showed his face in front of many rich people. The Yun family was also very concerned about this. When they found out that Gu Jingze had come and gone without paying a visit, Everyone was somewhat dissatisfied. The housekeeper even scolded his father, saying that Gu Jingze was deliberately humiliating the Yun family. Although Yun Qi was also very angry, he could only endure it. These people didn't know the strength of the Gu family, but he and Gu Xiande were sworn brothers. Although he wasn't particularly clear about how many people the Gu family had and how much wealth they had, he understood that their strength was absolutely unimaginable. He did not say anything after hearing the housekeeper's words. The housekeeper snorted. He thought that Gu Jingze had caused public anger when he came to M country. When that time came, he would stir up trouble outside. With so many rich people in M country boycotting him, he would not be able to be arrogant anymore. However, when the news reached Han Qingzhen, his face did not look good. He knew that Gu Jingze was putting on a show for him. Not only did he do it, but he also did it in such an arrogant manner. He was afraid that he was very confident in himself. Otherwise, with Gu Jingze's intelligence, he would not do something bad for himself for no reason. Han Qingzhen did not regret taking revenge on that family. None of them were good people. They were the ones who harmed Su Xin. It was those people in Sea country, including Lin Che, who were all accomplices in harming Su Xin. If she had not given birth to Lin Che, Su Xin would not have lived such a wronged life. If it was not for Lu Qinyu, Su Xin would not have given up such a good life and found a man like Lin Yukai. She was deceived by him. They were all the murderers who caused Su Xin to be unable to extricate herself. So he made Su Xin fake her death and hypnotized her, turning her into a woman without memories. This way she would not be addicted to her past life and let herself suffer for the rest of her life. Now he only wanted to give her the best life and take care of her until she died. He wanted her to live a comfortable and happy life every day. He wanted her to never be entangled by the past again. However, when he had the power, he would definitely take revenge on the people in Sea country one by one. Now it was just the beginning. His ultimate goal was to make Lu Qinyu, that scum of a man, go to hell for real. Gu Jingze returned to Sea country with Lin Che. After landing in B City, she first leaned against the wall to rest. Feeling a little lazy, she called Nan Gongyu and told him that she would go over after resting for a day. Nan Gongyu naturally agreed. He felt that the movie was only a few days away and would be finished very soon. This kind of drama film wasn't as troublesome as a blockbuster, so the production period would definitely be shorter. And a few days after Lin Che returned, the company had already arranged for her to follow the production team of Embarrassing Swim to do publicity for it. Chapter 921. Lin Che and the program team quickly went to Winners of All. This show had been done for so many years, and it was enough to show that the show was indeed very popular. When they went to participate in the show with a few people, there were even a lot of media who came to interview them. Could it be that the people of Embarrassing Tour were all together, so a lot of media rushed over? When the few of them sat together, it was just like when they were doing the show. The effect was very good. Although Lin Che was no longer a goddess, she was still a girl in the middle of so many men, so she was naturally the moon of the stars. Everyone looked at the two fresh meat and asked them first, "Didn't you have any feelings for Lin Che when you went out with her?" One of the fresh meat looked at Lin Che and said, "Actually, I really want to respect her, but after seeing her pick up newspapers to keep herself warm and shove stinky socks into people's bodies to steal money, I feel like I don't have any feelings for her anymore." Everyone treated Lin Che badly, and when they talked about Lin Che's embarrassing things, they became even more talkative. Lin Che knew that it was the effect of the show, so she naturally wouldn't be angry. Even if it was usually, Lin Che wouldn't care that much when a few friends treated each other badly. After all, she wasn't such a narrow-minded person. Everyone immediately pushed Lin Che's image of a tough girl, but the fresh meat still expressed that Lin Che's skin was really admirable. She had only not washed her face for a few days, but it was still so white. Lin Che shouted angrily, "You can praise me, but can you not say that I haven't washed my face for a few days?" The show was filled with laughter. This episode of Winners of All immediately won the first place in the ratings. The program team knew that this was all because this episode was an album of Embarrassing Tour. So many people came to watch it. Once the show was broadcast, it also had a great promotional effect on Embarrassing Tour. Sure enough, after the broadcast of the next episode, Embarrassing Tour directly won the first place in the viewership ratings, completely defeating Travel Together. The program team could be considered to have been proud for once. Everyone was in a jubilant mood and invited Lin Che to celebrate. Lin Che was also very happy. She didn't expect the reality show to be a complete victory this time, so she immediately agreed. The party was chosen at a club that some big names like to go to. Lin Che brought Abai along and was lifted up by all the men as soon as she entered the door. "Hey, the goddess is here." Lin Che was lifted high into the air and was quite frightened. He hurriedly shouted, all right, quickly put me down." Everyone laughed and put Lin Che down. The director said, "Everyone says that Lin Che is our lucky star, and now it's been proven. Now that our show is so popular, everyone can rest assured that we won't be arrogant. We will definitely follow up on our victory. In the future we will have a guest to accompany us every episode to ensure the freshness of the show. We've also added some activities when everyone is traveling, such as splitting up to see which team reaches the destination earlier. There will be some competition and this will increase the viewership of the show." Everyone felt that this was very good. They clinked their glasses together in high spirits, and the atmosphere became even hotter. Abai looked at these men and said to Lin Che, "Fortunately, it's all men working together. I think it's much better to work with male artists. There's not so much fighting and everyone takes good care of you." Lin Che thought about it and realized that it was indeed the case. Perhaps men were indeed a bit more generous than women. Abai said, I have to go to the set to see Shui Yang later. He has a scene tonight." Lin Che looked at her with a smile. "Min Min hasn't been around recently. You've really been busy." "I can't help it. I don't know if Min Min will be able to come out after these 3 months. I think it's difficult. Seeing how Mr. President is protecting her so tightly, he definitely won't be at ease with her working." "All right." Abai was going to order some wine and Lin Che went out with her. It was a pity that enemies met on a narrow road. As soon as they went out they saw Yang Ling walking past with a few people. Recently Lin Che's show had blown up the screen, and Yang Ling was so angry that his stomach hurt. Now that they actually met here it was inevitable that sparks would fly. Her gaze seemed to want to eat Lin Che, and she stared in Lin Che's direction without moving. Lin Che sneered, glanced at her and walked over. Yang Ling snorted, "I don't know how many ratings you bought to climb up, but you actually have the nerve to come and celebrate today." Lin Che stopped and turned to look at Yang Ling. "Yang Ling accent, just because you like to eat shit don't think that others like it too. Who would fake ratings? If you want to fake it, go ahead and make it. Let's see if the audience buys it." Abai also said, "Lin Che, forget it, don't talk nonsense with her. She may have eaten it so she thinks it's very fragrant. We haven't eaten it and we don't care to eat it. We definitely can't understand how she feels in her heart. Sco. You." Yang Ling looked at Abai and wanted to hit her. However, Dongzi was still next to Lin Che and he pressed Yang Ling's hand and pushed it back. Yang Ling moved, looked at Dongzi and then looked at the two people. She looked at Abai sharply. "A little agent dares to challenge me. You think you have a good financial backer behind you, you wait for me." Lin Che was too lazy to care about her and pulled Abai away. After Yang Ling left, her resentment towards Lin Che increased by 1 level. At this time she knew that she couldn't do anything to Lin Che for the time being, so she directly wanted to vent her anger on the little agent beside her. She snorted and said, "Find someone to follow that Lin Bai for me. If there are any problems, tell me." That night, Abai sent Lin Che home and dared to go to Shui Yang's place. Shui Yang was filming a night scene, and there were some fans waiting outside with heartache. Abai was also full of sorrow. She entered the door and looked at Shui Yang and said, "In a while, go outside and take a photo with the fans. There are so many girls waiting outside, it's so cold, what should we do?" Shui Yang also had no choice, children were too persistent. He nodded and said okay. Abai said, "Don't move, you also have to wear more clothes. It's cold outside at night, you'll easily catch a cold if you go out like this. How are you going to film if you catch a cold?" Abai picked up the clothes and put them on him. Shui Yang looked at her little face that was frozen red, smiled and reached out to cover it for her. "You're still talking about me. Look at you, how do you look like a big miss? You even ran over to take care of me. If your dad saw you like this he would definitely be distressed." Abai said, "Of course not. My dad said that he also wants me to exercise more. Do you think I was pampered since I was young?" Yes, you're the most special big miss." Shui Yang smiled and brought her out. However, the two of them didn't notice that someone had already walked past in the dark. The camera in his hand didn't turn on the flash, but the reflection of the lens flashed in the darkness. The next day when Lin Che woke up, he prepared to go to the Gu family with Gu Jingzi to visit Yu Minmin. After Yu Minmin was pregnant, she was invited back by the Gu family for dinner. Lin Che packed up Nian Nian early in the morning and went out to meet Gu Jingzi. Chapter 922. In the car, Lin Che said to Gu Jingzi, "Mr. President, are you ready to announce the good news now? It's been 3 months. Yes, that should be the case. That's why we're holding a party at home first so that everyone can have a good time together." Lin Che and Gu Jingzi also prepared gifts for Min Min's child. Seeing that Gu Jingzi's gifts were quite expensive, Lin Che only prepared some small clothes. He even brought a few small clothes that he had worn every year. There was an old saying that wearing small clothes that other people thought was good for your health. At that time, Lin Che had purposely kept a few of Nian Nian's clothes. They were all very cute. He hadn't worn them many times, so he had cleaned them up and left them there. This time he had brought them over. When they arrived at the Gu family was indeed in a state of jubilation. When Lin Che entered the room, he saw Yu Minmin sitting there. She looked much rounder than before. It seemed that Gu Jingming had taken good care of her. Gu Jingming was standing next to her with one hand on her shoulder. When he saw Lin Che and Gu Jingzi, he put down his hand and looked at them. "Wow, Minmin, you look so good now," said Lin Che. Yu Minmin smiled and said, "You're here. I was wondering why you weren't here yet. I packed some clothes for you at home. Come and take a look." "Really? Let me take a look." Yu Minmin looked at the clothes that Lin Che had taken out and thought that they were extremely cute. She quickly kept them and said to Lin Che, "They're so pretty. They were all worn by Nian Nian when he was young." Lin Che said, "Yeah. When he was young, he wasn't as troublesome as he is now. He just wore whatever he was given." Nian Nian was speechless as he looked at the cute little clothes. Lin Che said, "When she was young, she even made Yun Yun wear Yun Yun's clothes for Nian Nian. She looks good in them too. She looks like a little girl." Nian Nian's face darkened. Lin Che took out a photo from his phone. Look, these are the photos we took of them." Nian Nian hurriedly came to snatch it. "Mom, how come I didn't know about this? If he had known earlier, he would have destroyed it long ago." Lin Che raised his hand. Nian Nian wouldn't be able to get it. Lin Che snorted and looked at Nian Nian. I'm going to treasure this. If you don't listen to me in the future, I'll take it out and show it to others." Nian Nian jumped for a long time but still couldn't get it, so he could only give up. He only secretly looked at her phone, thinking to himself sooner or later he would destroy these things. He definitely couldn't keep it. Lin Che leaned against the wall. It had been a long time since he had spoken to Yu Minmin. At this moment he had many things he wanted to say to her. Yu Minmin said, "I've seen it. This reality show of yours is really not bad. You're indeed quite suitable for a reality show." All right, I'm just trying to hype things up after I return. I don't want to be a comedian. Don't worry, I definitely won't do anything else after this. Besides, if the reality shows are good, they can last for a few years." Lin Che said, "That Yang Ling is really annoying. I don't know where she came from. That's right, it's too annoying. Oh right, you must have received quite a lot of gifts during this pregnancy, right? Hehe, did you become a rich woman all of a sudden?" Lin Che squinted his eyes and said. Yu Minmin said, "Don't worry. I didn't take as much as you did." She pointed at Gu Jingming with her eyes. With his status, he naturally couldn't accept too many gifts from others. This aspect was very strict. He would only accept gifts from his own family members. If it was someone else's gift, even if it was a gift of clothes or a blessing, they would still accept it. No matter how precious it was, they wouldn't accept it. Lin Che said, "All right, looks like the pursuit of money and the pursuit of power can't be on the same line. See? Yeah, I still have to rely on your family in the future." "Really? Then you have to serve me, your sugar daddy, well." Lin Che lifted her chin. Looking at her face, he exclaimed, "Aya, you're going to have a double chin. You're so annoying. Don't mention it." Yu Minmin exclaimed as she covered her face. "I feel so ashamed. I'm only 3 months old and I'm already so fat. How am I going to live in the future?" Lin Che said, "But if you don't vomit in the beginning, you might gain a little weight. If you have morning sickness later, you might lose weight." However, I think that since Mr. President has fed you so well, you probably won't lose weight. Yu Minmin looked like she was about to cry. Gu Jingming really cared too much about her. Now he would eat 3 meals with her every day and bring her along wherever he went. Remote visits were pushed back just so that she wouldn't tire herself out. When she met the guests in Lapis Lazuli Palace, she would rest at the back. Once she went out to work at the Senate, she would follow along. The Senate was already used to seeing her in the Senate building, but Yu Minmin always felt a little embarrassed. Just then Gu Qigong walked in with Mu Wanqing. After Lin Che found out about the Black Hawk, he always had a strange feeling when he saw Gu Qigong. However, seeing that Mu Wanqing's smile was indeed much better than before, he couldn't bear to disturb her. Gu Qigong looked at Gu Jingze. Jingze, you're here. I heard that you went to Country a few days ago. Gu Jingze looked up. Yeah. Gu Jingming looked at him from the side. Not only did you go there, I heard that you made a name for yourself and came back. Gu Jingze said, but they were a little arrogant, so I couldn't not warn them. If you warn them too much, be careful not to cause trouble for yourself. At this moment the sound of a walking stick could be heard from behind. Gu Xiande had arrived. There were a few elders of the Gu family beside him. Now it was these few relatives who were still with him, insisting on restoring the Gu family's tradition. However, the master of the Gu family had changed and Gu Jingze had never been controlled. Gu Jingze turned around. Grandfather, you're right. But the Gu family has its own prestige. When it's time to show up, we shouldn't let others act like tyrants over our heads, right? Gu Xiande snorted and looked at Gu Jingze. I'm talking about the Yun family. I know that when you go there, you don't give the Yun family any face. I'm warning you, be careful not to fall out with the Yun family. When that happens, let's see how you're going to maintain your power in Country M. If the Yun family joins forces with Country M to fight against the Gu family, will you be able to take it? Gu Jingze stood there proudly. His expression didn't change. He looked at Gu Xiande calmly. Grandfather, since I can do it, I can naturally take it. All right, let's see how you're going to take it. Gu Xiande snorted and walked inside. He glanced at Lin Che but didn't say anything. Gu Qigong looked at him and shook his head. He walked over to Gu Jingze and said, all right, let's go eat. Oh yes, I have something to ask you. Gu Jingze looked at Gu Qigong deeply. His eyes moved quietly, then he nodded and said, all right. They arrived at the villa. Gu Qigong asked the servant who came to pour tea to leave first. Then he looked at Gu Jingze. How's the matter I asked you to investigate? Chapter 923. Gu Jingze lowered his head and fiddled with the teapot, not saying a word. Gu Qigong said, you didn't investigate, or can't find anything. It's been many years. I know it's not easy to investigate, but I still hope that you can do your best to help me. Gu Jingze continued to look ahead, not saying a word. Gu Qigong sighed. Not many people know about this. I'm guessing that it must have something to do with the person who knew about this back then. Otherwise, it wouldn't have disappeared for no reason. Even if a child was picked up by a stranger, there would definitely be some traces left behind. Now that there are no traces at all, it must have been erased by someone maliciously. Enough, father. The veins on Gu Jingze's ears bulged. He had been trying hard to control his emotions, but now he couldn't hold it in anymore. He turned his head. Father, if you could focus more on mother, perhaps I would be happier and I would be more willing to help you investigate, but I'm really disappointed. Gu Qigong was stunned. Gu Jingze snorted and took out the photos and documents from his pocket. He threw them aside and said, the things you want are here. I didn't find them. This person has been by your side for a long time. It's just that you didn't realize it. You didn't realize it. Because of the bad things you did back then, you made a young man hysterical and went around seeking revenge. And because of the bad things you did back then, your children, the innocent Lin Che and me, were put on the revenge list because of you. Are you satisfied now that you've found the person? But it's a pity that he wants to seek revenge on you instead of acknowledging you as his biological father. Gu Qigong's face froze. Gu Jingze's expression froze. He walked past him with a steely expression. Gu Qigong was stunned. He lowered his head to look at the documents. Photos, information, the person shown. As he looked at the photo, he suddenly thought of the tall man he had met before. It's him. When Gu Jingze returned, he didn't look well. Lin Che noticed and whispered to Yu Minmin, "I'll go and see what's going on." Then Lin Che hurried over to Gu Jingze's side. "Gu Jingze, what's wrong? Let me be alone for a while." Gu Jingze didn't even turn his head. His voice was hard and cold. Lin Che was stunned. He paused for a moment, but still hurriedly walked forward. "Gu Jingze, if there's anything you want to tell me, okay?" Gu Jingze said, "All right, go and have a rest." "No, tell me." Gu Jingze simply ignored her and walked forward quickly. Long legs had its benefits. When he sped up, she had to jog to keep up with him. In a moment of panic, she accidentally tripped and fell to the ground. Ouch! Lin Che cried out as his knees hurt. Gu Jingze was stunned. He turned around and saw Lin Che lying on the ground. His head was in a mess and he quickly ran back. He pulled Lin Che up and looked at her. "What happened? Let me take a look." "My knees." Lin Che frowned. He felt that his knees were hurting. Gu Jingze hurriedly asked her to sit down and carefully rolled up his trousers. His knee was broken and there were obvious bloodstains on it. There seemed to be something dirty inside. "It's a little dirty. Don't move." Gu Jingze frowned. He quickly grabbed her knee and sucked on her wound. "Hey you." Lin Che was extremely shocked. She looked to the side in a panic. She had forgotten about the pain. She felt him spit to the side and then lower his head to suck. While Lin Che was shocked, she also felt very touched. She looked at him and said in a sweet tone, "Gu Jingze, why are you so good to me?" Gu Jingze was stunned. He was surprised that this idiot would ask such a question at this time. He looked at her unhappily. "Because you're such an idiot. If I don't treat you better, I'm afraid that you'll kill yourself one day." When Lin Che heard this, she didn't feel angry at all because he was half kneeling on the ground. Instead, she tilted her head and smiled adorably. She really felt that she couldn't live without him. She had been spoiled by him so much that she felt that she was becoming an imbecile. However, most importantly, she felt that there would never be another man in the world who could treat her as well as Gu Jingze did. She thought that people said that she wasn't good enough for Gu Jingze because of her family background. She felt that she wasn't good enough for Gu Jingze because he was such a good man, while she was a willful wife who was far from being as good as he was. She really didn't know why she was favored by him. She felt that she had nothing. How could she be loved by him so much? Therefore, she wanted to be nice to him more and more. She wanted to return everything to him. She put her hands on his shoulders and looked at him. "Gu Jingze, you have to tell me what happened. Let me be of some use as your wife, okay?" Gu Jingze gazed deeply into her eyes. His deep gaze fell into her sincere eyes. He felt that no man would be able to resist such a gaze from her. He had always thought that her eyes were extraordinarily beautiful. The first time he had feelings for her, it wasn't because of her beautiful face, but because of her pure eyes. No matter what had happened, her eyes had never changed. He looked at her and sighed, not knowing what to do with her. "I just told father about the Black Hawk." "Ah, what did father say?" "I didn't give him a chance to speak and he's probably still in shock." Gu Jingze said, "Let's go. I'll take you to clean your wounds first." As he said that, he carried Lin Che. Lin Che hugged his neck and asked, "What should we do?" "I don't know." Gu Jingze looked ahead, his eyes cold. Lin Che sighed and looked at him. "Idiot, you've already done what you should have done. This isn't your responsibility. It's not something you did. Whoever did it will have to bear the responsibility. It's up to the two of them to decide how to deal with it. Why do you care?" Gu Jingze looked down at her. Lin Che said, "No matter what it is, it can be dealt with as if it's none of my business or none of your business." Gu Jingze paused when he heard that. In the next moment he felt a little better. This magical woman gave people the feeling that they would always be tainted by her casual personality when they were with her. And she didn't feel that there was anything wrong with her twisted logic. From afar, Gu Qigong wanted to come over, but Mu Wanqing stopped him. "All right, with Lin Che here, Jingze will be fine. No matter what, you don't have to worry about it." "But what did you say just now?" "He's so angry." Gu Qigong looked at her, his expression changing. He felt a little embarrassed to speak. Chapter 924. After Gu Jingze brought Lin Che back to the room, Gu Xianda and the others were in the room. The whole room was filled with anxiety. "I think Jingze spoils Lin Che so much. She will be a scourge sooner or later," a relative said. "That's right. I don't know what Lin Che is capable of to make him so infatuated with her. Just now, a servant outside said that Jingza actually squatted down to let her suck his blood, another clan member said. I think even the eldest son's wife Yu Minmin is better than her. She is very low-key and never comes out. Then what do you think we should do? In the future she will still be the lady of the house. When that time comes, I think the incident of playing with the nobles will happen again. As they spoke, they showed great dissatisfaction towards Lin Che. Gu Xiande did not say anything. He just smoked and listened to everyone's complaints. Since Jingza chose it himself, we can't do anything about it. Since Jingza is like this, we can't just watch him fall like this, the relative said. Then what should we do now? How can she be the lady of the house like this? Many people in the family don't trust her. Even the servants don't think she is capable. If that's the case, it's easy. We don't agree with her being the lady of the house, and the servants are not happy about it. Even if Jingza wants to push her, he might not succeed. That day, after Gu Jingming and Yu Minmin returned to the Gu family, they released a statement in Glass Palace, saying that the president's wife was pregnant and Mr. President was going to have his first child. For a moment, the whole country was in a jubilant mood. Many of the president's fans expressed their heartbreak that they also wanted to give birth to Mr. President. They were also very happy that Gu Jingming was finally going to be a father. The people of Sea Country were also very creative. They could make commercial value out of anything. Immediately, some shopping websites launched a panic buying event on the day of the president's wife giving birth. Some people also started to launch a brand baby bed for the president's wife and so on. However, many of them were fake. Yu Minmin knew that most of her things were custom-made to prevent others from using her logo. The whole country was speculating whether the president's wife would give birth to a boy or a girl. Some websites even took some photos of Yu Minmin's trip. In the photos, Yu Minmin's face was bare and slightly bloated, but she looked very generous when she went out. Her stomach was slightly bulging and she looked like she was flying. Everyone said that she was probably pregnant with a boy. Yu Minmin stayed at home and looked at these guesses. She was speechless. She felt that these people were really good at doing things. Some of the websites had even set up a betting system. If one guessed correctly, there would be a prize. On the other side, Shui Yang's news was also leaked at the same time as Yu Minmin's. The tabloid said, "Double good news for Lin Che's studio. One is that one of the bosses, Yu Minmin, is pregnant, and the other is that Shui Yang and his manager are getting married. Just look at the photos and you'll know how close Shui Yang and his manager are." The photo showed a photo of Shui Yang and Abai. Shui Yang stroked Abai's cheek. Shui Yang put on a hat for her intimately. Shui Yang held the lunchbox for her and Shui Yang held the cup for her. There was an uproar on the internet. Little fresh meat Shui Yang was actually a couple with his manager? Was this for real? However, this news caused the majority of the fans to be disgusted. Did this bitch get close to Shui Yang just to seduce him? She's so close to him. This is too disgusting. How did she become a manager? Letting an artist take care of her? Is she a manager or a princess? She really thinks of herself as a treasure. We don't believe it. How could Shui Yang like such a woman? How could a small manager dare to blaspheme our male god? Who does she think she is? Shui Yang, don't be fooled. You must have been brainwashed. Everyone scolded Bai together and found fault with her. They said that Bai looked arrogant and domineering and didn't look like a decent woman at all. Some people even dug out a photo of Bai when she first came to Country C. At that time she was simply dressed like a delinquent girl. People said that she didn't have the style of a village and didn't know which village she came from. There were many malicious comments and there were also many objections. There were even fans on the official website asking the company to change Shui Yang's manager. They strongly opposed Shui Yang working with such a selfish manager. In the company, everyone who had just received the news couldn't react for a moment. Bai was so angry that her face turned green. Seeing those people directly curse at her, she only hated herself for not being able to curse back directly. Lin Che was also in the company. Looking at these reports, he said speechlessly, "This kind of bad comment is obviously made up. It's deliberately targeting us." Abai said, "Did I offend someone? Or did Shui Yang offend someone?" Lin Che looked at Abai. "I think it's more targeted at you." Abai said, "Annoying, I didn't. Alright, I usually offend people a little, but is a manager someone who offends people?" Shui-yong also stood at the side. Looking at these words, he felt very guilty. Bai, it's all because of me. Bai turned around and said, what does it have to do with you? It's these people who took some photos for no reason just to deliberately slander us. However, Shui-yong still couldn't watch her be scolded so miserably. He sighed, took out a cigarette from his pocket and stood out to smoke. Lin Che said, Sai, really, I don't think he has experienced such a thing since he debuted. Because male artists don't have that many haters, it's even more so for a little fresh meat like him, so his emotions must be a little off. You should comfort him later. Lin Che's thoughts were not wrong, especially since Shui-yong was still full of guilt about this matter. So he picked up his phone and thought for a long time before posting on Weibo. He directly said, don't scold a Bai. If you want to scold someone, scold me instead. As soon as this sentence was said, it immediately attracted a lot of attention. There were already a lot of people waiting for his message on Weibo. When they saw this, they immediately boiled over. What did this mean? Did he admit it? By the time a few people from the company found out, the comments had already reached tens of thousands of people in just a few minutes. The people from the company were stunned. This was posted by Shui-yong, right? Did someone hack his account? Fuck, it must be him. Hurry up and find him. Shui-yong was still standing outside. When Lin Che and Abai heard this, they quickly ran out. Shui-yong. What are you doing? Shui-yong turned around, his expression a little uncomfortable. Bai quickly snatched his phone, opened Weibo and directly deleted it. Shui-yong, do you want to die? Shui-yong looked at Bai. As a man, how can I watch a woman get scolded because of me? Moreover, they scolded so much. What slut, bitch, they were all scolded, which made Shui-yong feel very uncomfortable. Chapter 925. Abai looked at Shui-yong. Although he was still young, impulsive and unconventional, it made Abai feel very happy. Abai said, forget it, they're just venting anyway. I'm not that angry. If I get angry because of this, then wouldn't Lin Che be angry? She gets scolded every time. Shui-yong looked at Abai. But this matter started because of me. I think it's necessary for me to stand up and let everyone know that you're helping me. We're good friends and partners. It's not as dirty as they think. What Abai deliberately approached him, what seducing him, he was already very tired of these words. At this time, Abai said, all right, fool, don't these companies have legal departments and public relations departments? Let's take it slow. Don't be so chaotic just because Min Min is not here now. There will always be a way to solve it. Lin Che also said, that's right, this is the first challenge our company faces after Min Min's vacation. Everyone cheer up and fight this battle well. We're a company, a team and also a family. Now it's time to test our ability to cooperate. The company first gathered some water armies and asked people where they bought these water armies from. They wanted to find out who was buying water armies to attack the company. Then, looking at the comments on the internet, the conspiracy theories seemed to have begun to ferment. Some people had already said that Abai had always been helping Shui-yong in TV dramas and movies when she could get away from him. Usually, Shui-yong didn't have any other friends. Every time he went out, he would definitely bring Abai along. It must be because Abai was isolating him so that he couldn't contact other people. There were also people who said that Abai had long had the idea of monopolizing him. Moreover, Abai was very ambitious. Not only did she rely on him to earn money, she was just a small agent, but she actually lived in a big villa in a rich area in Country C. Not only that, but the car she drove was a luxury car. Shui-yong must have bought it for her, or she usually deducted Shui-yang's money. Although the netizens dug very deep online and dug out what Abai usually did, where she went, where she lived, what brand she wore and what kind of car she drove, it was a pity that they couldn't dig any deeper. And the company quickly found out that the water armies were bought by a place called Qianshan Film and Television Management Company. And there was one artist in this company that they were all familiar with. Yongling, Lin Che said. Abai scolded Yongling that day. I reckon that it was that day that Yongling harbored hatred in his heart and prepared to deal with Abai. Shui-yang's face was stiff. He sat there with his hands clenched into fists. Lin Che said, since we know who it is, it'll be easier for us to make our move. Yongling, she has so many black marks, yet she still dares to go against us. Lin Che immediately ordered his men to make preparations and dig deeper into Yongling. He first exposed a few photos of Yang Ling's plastic surgery. Yang Ling had indeed undergone plastic surgery. Furthermore, some parts of his face were clearly modeled after Lin Che's. As soon as the photo was released, many fans started to scold Yang Ling, saying that Yang Ling was ugly in the past. He was so ordinary and a passerby, but now he had become like this. After that, it was exposed on the internet saying that there was something wrong with Yang Ling's background. Her past resume was suspected to be fake, because it was said that she had graduated from Buddha Women's University. However, in that university no one had ever said that they were her alumni and no one had ever seen her there. When Yang Ling saw this news, she was still on the set of the program. She was watching the news with her legs crossed and a cold expression on her face. At this moment, her assistant ran over in a hurry and said to her, "Sister Ling, it seems it's a call from Lin Che." Yang Ling's face froze. Then she raised her head and took the phone. "I'm really surprised that Sister Che would call me," Yang Ling said in a strange tone. Lin Che snorted. "You should have known that I would call you." "I don't know what you're talking about." Yang Ling wasn't stupid enough to reveal anything over the phone. Lin Che said, "Whether you know or not, it's fine as long as you understand it yourself. I just want to say that everyone has a black mark. If everyone tries to dig it out, we'll see whose black mark can't make a comeback in the end." Yang Ling laughed. Sister Che, plastic surgery and fake identities aren't that big of a deal in the entertainment industry. However, if an artist gets together with their manager, they'll lose a lot of fans. If you want to continue playing, fine, I'll tell you I'm not afraid. "Heh, really? All right then, don't regret it," Lin Che said calmly. Yang Ling said, "If you really had a way to deal with me, you wouldn't have called me to make peace now. Didn't you threaten me because you couldn't do anything to me? Right, let's continue. I want to see if you have more to lose or if I have more to lose." Lin Che hung up the phone and instructed the person beside him, "All right, post the photos of Yang Ling in prison online." Yes. The people below were very efficient. Soon the photos of Yang Ling in prison were posted online. Although Yang Ling was angry, Yang Ling's company was also terrified and wanted Yang Ling to stop. However, Yang Ling did not agree. In her room, she threw away everything on the table. Looking at the messy office, she gritted her teeth and said, "All right, next wave, let's provoke this Shui Yang to death. Damn, didn't you guys take a photo of Shui Yang in awe by staying in a hotel room for a few hours?" That photo was of Shui Yang returning to his room after filming. The manager went in and stayed for a few hours. The man and woman were in the same room. It was hard for people not to think about it. As soon as the photo was released, it immediately made people feel that Shui Yang must have something going on with the manager. Some people began to scold Shui Yang, saying that Shui Yang ate the grass near his nest and that he ate so lowly. The image of a little fresh meat was just a product of packaging. Yang Ling looked at the angry scolding of Shui Yang online and felt even more satisfied. On the other side, Shui Yang and Abai went out together. As soon as they arrived at the airport, they were surrounded by a group of people who came out of nowhere. A few people directly threw eggs at Abai. "Trash. Bitch. Adulterous couple. You still have the nerve to come out after messing around." Shui Yang was stunned and immediately stood in front of Abai to protect her. The eggs hit him one by one. Abai was stunned and looked at Shui Yang. At this time, although his shoulders were not so broad, his image suddenly became strangely tall. Abai bit her lips and finally couldn't stand it anymore. She said to the people outside, "Enough, if you dare to talk nonsense again, I will pull out all your teeth one by one." Although Lin Che had a plan, Abai really couldn't stand them using eggs to treat Shui Yang like this, and even scolded Shui Yang. Chapter 926. Ha, a bitch is a bitch, hiding behind Shui Yang to be arrogant. Did you get blackened by someone before you crawled to Shui Yang's side? Shui Yang, how can you go down? This kind of woman, you disappoint us too much. A group of people cursed at the two of them. However, no matter how disappointed the real fans were, they wouldn't be like this. These people were all hired by someone. Abai looked at the people in front of her angrily. But at this moment, the company's security and the airport's security rushed over and took these people away to the police station. Shui Yang looked back at Abai and reached out to remove the eggs on her body with pity. "Abai, let's go, I'll take you to wash first." Abai hit herself. "It's okay, it's just a little egg, how can it hurt me?" Go. However, Shuiyang was really angry in his heart. In the afternoon, Yang Ling was still on the set watching the news broadcast. Abai and Shuiyang were beaten with eggs. She laughed so hard that she almost choked. The filming on the set was over. Yang Ling took her things and prepared to leave. Unexpectedly, as soon as she reached the door, she felt a figure coming in front of her. Before Yang Ling could react, his fist had already hit her. Yang Ling was stunned. Her face was hit directly on the bridge of her nose. Her artificially made nose bridge collapsed at this moment. She quickly covered her face, looked up, and saw the man in front of her at a glance. It turned out to be Shuiyang. Shuiyang, someone's hitting me. Hurry up and call the police, someone is going to rape me here. Yang Ling turned around and ran into the set, shouting. Outside, Shuiyang was immediately held down by a few people. In the company, Abai and Lin Che were still watching the news. Abai said, I almost couldn't hold it in today, but I thought that you still had a plan, so I held it in. I didn't expect this Yang Ling to be like this. She's deliberately humiliating you for her own happiness. Yeah, I know, so I don't care. When the time comes, we'll count it back together. Okay, go find Shuiyang, comfort him and tell him not to worry. I really don't know how you resisted it in the past. I understand. Only when you're famous will there be people who hate you. Compared to the past when I wasn't famous at all, compared to now, I feel that if there are gains, there must be sacrifices. That's why I have to endure it. I can't let the whole team worry about me. Alright, you're such a good girl. Of course. However, when they went out, they did not find Shuiyang. Bai still wanted to ask where Shuiyang went. But at this moment her phone rang. Shuiyang's agent, right? Shuiyang is now at the police station. Shuiyang hit someone at the police station. Yang Ling went straight to the hospital and refused to see anyone. She cried and made a scene saying that she would not let Shuiyang go to jail. Her nose, which had just been repaired, had actually been hit by him so hard that it had to be repaired again. She would not be able to see anyone for at least a few days. Looking at her ruined face, of course, she was furious. At this time, Abai and Lin Che had also arrived at the police station. There were quite a few reporters following outside. It seemed that they already knew about this matter. Because Shuiyang was a celebrity, the police station gave him special treatment and gave Shuiyang a separate place to stay. Even celebrities can't hit people casually. Look, it's caused a lot of trouble, the police said as they brought the two girls in. But even though they said that, the police still took a closer look at Lin Che, who was rarely seen. They sighed in their hearts. Celebrities were really good-looking, even real people were so good-looking. After entering, Shuiyang sat there and watched the two of them enter. He raised his head and there was a hint of guilt on his stubborn face. I'm sorry, Sister Che. He did not regret hitting someone. That Yang Ling deserved to be hit, but he felt that he had let down Lin Che's trust in him and nurtured him. He said, I know that I have my current status and fame because Sister Che thought highly of me and promoted me. Now that I'm in the police station for hitting someone, if the television station and advertising company want to ban me, my future might be gone. It's only right for the company to give up on me. I won't say anything. Bai immediately raised her head and looked at Lin Che. Lin Che sighed and said, Fool, what nonsense are you talking about? People have emotions. It's normal for you to have emotions. After all, he was still a hot-blooded teenager and the other party had gone too far. Lin Che said, Yang Ling was also deliberately angering you so that you would be too angry and cause trouble for yourself. However, she doesn't know one thing. What is it? Shuiyang raised his head. She doesn't know that Abai is not some girl from the countryside. Lin Che looked at Abai and said, Just you wait. We'll go on the stage early. I heard that Shuiyang, you made Yang Ling's nose crooked, right? Yes. Don't even think about her next advertisement. I want a picture of her crooked nose to be spread everywhere. Lin Che said. Abai said, How can we take a picture of her? She'll definitely be on guard and won't let anyone take a picture. Lin Che said to Dongzi, who was following behind, Dongzi, get someone to take a picture. Dongzi nodded. Yes, Mississippi. Dongzi retreated and Lin Che said, Ordinary people can't take a picture. She doesn't know that my personal guard is not an ordinary person. Lin Che looked at Abai. Yang Ling followed me for a while. Unfortunately, I didn't have a personal guard at that time and I didn't let her come into contact with the Gu family's security. She doesn't know that these people are not just bodyguards. She also doesn't know that you are a member of the Wesley family. She really messed with the wrong person. Bai smiled. I've also endured her for a long time. I'm waiting for a chance to slap her in the face. Lin Che said, Shuiyang, you have to have an attitude when admitting your mistake. Since you've already caused trouble, let's deal with the matter as it is. Don't avoid it. People nowadays like sincere people. You're a man but you don't steal or rob. You only vent your anger for your friend. It's a scandal but it's not to the point where you can't turn back. Shuiyang looked at Lin Che and Bai. Yes, I admit my mistake. Lin Che said, our company won't casually abandon people. Our company isn't like others who only care about profit. You're the company's artists and our friends. Our company won't lose a single person. Shuiyang looked at Lin Che. He was really shocked and grateful. He felt very lucky to be able to know such a group of people. If he hadn't known them, he wouldn't have known that there was another way to live in life. He wouldn't have known that one day he would be able to turn things around, support himself and get rid of his past life. So he had been working hard, hoping that he would be worthy of such an opportunity. However, because of Bai who had been with him day and night, he really lost control. Bai was so good to him but he could only watch them slander her. He couldn't help it. Chapter 927. That day, Dongzi ordered someone to sneak into the room through the window and took a photo of the sleeping Yang Ling. Her distorted face could be seen from the photo. When Yang Ling woke up, she felt that something was wrong in the room. She immediately called the doctor and nurse and said angrily, "Is there someone in the room?" The doctor and nurse said immediately, "That's impossible. Miss, your people are all outside. Not even a fly can fly in." Yang Ling snorted. "You've all signed a confidentiality agreement. If my face gets out, you'll be fired." The doctor and nurse were in a difficult position, but there was nothing they could do. "Don't worry, our hospital has professional ethics. But I still feel that something is wrong with the room." Her suspicious look made the doctor feel disgusted. He couldn't help but think to himself, "It's all because you're guilty. Of course you're afraid of being seen by others. Miss, no one can enter through the door. You've never left this door. This is the 14th floor. It's impossible for someone to fall from the sky." Yang Ling felt that it was true, but she didn't think that someone could fall from the sky. Dongzi's people had jumped directly from the 15th floor. To them this was a very simple matter. However, that afternoon someone released a report saying that Yang Ling had been beaten up. The truth about her plastic surgery could no longer be hidden. Her face was crooked and she looked terrible. Then Yang Ling's photo was displayed on the screen. When Yang Ling received the news, it was already too late. Everyone was scared to death when they saw Yang Ling's face. Why does Yang Ling look so ugly? It's so scary. Plastic surgery is so scary. Doesn't it hurt? He had such a big prosthetic. It's artificial. But looking at her previous photo, she does look like a passerby. He can't be a star. She still doesn't admit that she had plastic surgery. This photo is too scary. That day, an advertiser quickly found Yang Ling and said that she couldn't appear in the advertisement for her beauty products. They were very tactful, but they still wanted to say that they didn't want to use her. Yang Ling had lost a few advertising opportunities. She immediately went to complain, saying that someone was purposely trying to harm her. She said that she had been beaten, but there was no sympathy. No one came to comfort her. Shuiyang, who had beaten her, was even bailed out. Why? On the other side, at this time Shuiyang held a press conference. This was considered an apology press conference. He appeared at the press conference in a serious manner. There were many reporters at the scene, and the entire factory was surrounded by a crowd. Shuiyang bowed to everyone and said, "I'm very sorry. As a public figure, I've brought a bad influence on young people and set a bad example. I'm truly sorry. This was indeed done by me. I'll bear the legal responsibility and moral condemnation for this. I'll try my best to do volunteer work, hoping to make up for this mistake. Even if I can't make up for it, I hope to let everyone see that I'm trying my best to admit my mistake. But..." He looked up slightly and said to everyone, "I regret using such an extreme method to vent my anger. But the other party started a rumor previously. Because the company's program clashed with mine, she harbored hatred towards my manager, my friend and my close partner. She maliciously slandered them. We've already found out that the internet water army was hired by the other party. She slandered me for having a special relationship with my friend, slandered her as a girl and even scolded her viciously. This kind of language is very hard for me to bear. I can't bear to see the people around me get hurt because of me and I can't do anything about it. So, I violated the company's request and beat her up. However, when she hired people to throw eggs at me and my manager, I really couldn't bear it. So, in a moment of impulse, I told the other party that I'll take responsibility for beating you up. However, if you maliciously hurt us, we'll continue to take legal action. With that, Shui Yong immediately bowed and left. The reporter's flashes were flashing non-stop. Shui Yong didn't smile the whole time, but his last words were sonorous and powerful, which made the netizens have a good impression of him. In addition, he stood up for his own people, which made people feel that he was very righteous. He didn't care about his own interests to help his friends vent their anger. Even if it was indeed illegal, it made everyone feel refreshed. As for Yang Ling, he had just been hated because of the photos of his failed plastic surgery. At this moment he was crying and saying that he was a victim. They felt that what Shui Yong said was reasonable and convincing. At this moment the relationship between Ah Bai and Shui Yong was directly exposed on the internet. A Weibo verified account said that everyone had posted before, saying that Ah Bai had a dark history in the past, saying how Ah Bai used Shui Yong to make money, saying how extravagant Ah Bai was. However, everyone had misunderstood. Ah Bai did not use Shui Yong to make a single cent. What's more, Ah Bai did not receive any remuneration from Shui Yong at all, because Ah Bai did not need it. Lin Bai's surname was not Lin, and Lin Bai's nationality was not Country C. Her real name was Abigail Wesley. She was the youngest daughter of the famous Wesley family. She met Lin Che abroad and liked Country C very much. When she came to Country C, she went to Lin Che's studio to help. All her mansions, luxury cars and luxurious clothes were all her own. Everyone was curious and immediately went to check the Wesley family. They found out that it was the Wesley family, an internationally famous oil tycoon. They were in the top 10 of the rich list and could be said to be absolutely rich. Ah Bai was not a non-mainstream girl from Ming Village. She was a real international socialite. When everyone saw that she was so high-end and then looked at her previous non-mainstream photos, they didn't think that it was non-mainstream anymore because it should be the dress of some American delinquent girls. With a little Latin style, it was not very ugly. The netizens' thoughts were so ever-changing. A rich person seemed to be rich no matter what he wore, and a poor person wearing gold clothes was also annoying. The world was so unfair, and Lin Che's studio took advantage of this unfairness. At this moment, everyone felt that Ah Bai and Shui Yong were not so incompatible. An international socialite and a domestic fresh meat, so what if they were really together? And Shui Yang's fans also felt that if Shui Yong really had such a girlfriend, his future would be good. But on the other side, Yang Ling was about to go crazy. She looked at the so-called Wesley family in the report with a face full of disbelief. That little girl was a socialite? She couldn't see it at all. Moreover, how could a socialite be willing to be someone else's manager? Her people muttered at the side, "Why are there so many powerful people around Lin Che? Yu Minmin is the president's wife and now he's a small manager and he has such a strong background. Alright you guys, if you're so envious of her, go to her studio. I'll see if she accepts you, bunch of trash." Yang Ling scolded angrily. Chapter 928. Everyone has found out at this time. Indeed, when the news of Shui Yong and Ah Bai was exposed, Yang Ling's scandals also broke out one by one. Everyone saw that the scandals of the two families almost broke out one after another. Can be seen that the two families are really fighting. Shui Yong is right. There is indeed a conflict between the two families. He hit people because of these conflicts. People on the internet are discussing. I think Shui Yong is a man. He bears all the mistakes in order to protect his own people. Someone said, Shui Yong is so wronged. He was hit by an egg. Look at the report of the egg. He directly stood in front of his agent and used his own body to block the egg for his agent. He is so manly. I have always thought that people who protect the people around them are good people. It shows that they have gone beyond the relationship of interests. Everyone is willing to sacrifice themselves for others. Of course, there are people who stand on Shui Yang's side and there are people who stand on the other side. Someone said, but Shui Yang hit people and it was a woman. He can't hit people. Although someone immediately retorted, saying that he can throw eggs at you just because the other party is a woman and you can't even fight back, right? Someone else said, Shui Yang is wrong. He shouldn't have hit people. Don't scold him. He should have thrown a tooth for a tooth and thrown shit at her. Yes, this kind of woman should eat shit. She deserves it. Although both sides are wrong, I inexplicably have a better impression of Shui Yang. Look at how many black spots Yang Ling has and look at Shui Yang. Except for this time he has been working conscientiously and working hard in the past. There is no negative news at all. As long as this time people hurt his people he will fight back. So I think I still like Shui Yang. Yang Ling has long known that there is no way to control the situation. The best way is to let Yang Ling not show up for the time being. Anyway, she can't see people now. Her nose is like that and she will definitely need to rest for a while. Then Yang Ling quit the reality show and went on a trip together. Although Yang Ling is angry at this time, the company will not let her go out and cause trouble no matter what. Yang Ling thought back and felt that Lin Che deliberately let her make trouble, but did not reveal the true identity of a bai. It was so that one day it would be exposed together so that she could slap him in the face. This Lin Che is too sinister. If Shui Yang hadn't hit her halfway she would have been defeated. Even though Yang Ling was more hated than Shui Yang at the moment, and the people standing on Shui Yang's side clearly had the upper hand, Yang Ling still stood on the moral high ground. That was, Shui Yang was the one who beat him up. In the company, Shui Yang went out and said to Lin Che, then Sis Che, I'll be leaving first. Lin Che said, alright, go home and rest for a few days. I still have to continue working. Although some people didn't dare to casually use artists with black spots, Shui Yang's agent was a bai. When everyone thought that she turned out to be a member of Wesley's family, they became a lot more courageous. They felt that even if Shui Yang had something, Wesley's family could use money to get through. Therefore Shui Yang's work would continue. Shui Yang smiled. All right. When he went out he saw that Bai had also followed him out. He said, I'm going back. You should also rest well. Bai looked at him and said, fool, don't hit people for me next time. Shui Yang turned around. Idiot, you're my man. How could I watch you get bullied? Bai smiled gently as she looked at this big boy. Although he didn't seem to have grown up, she still felt that his body had suddenly become so broad. Lin Che had been dealing with company matters for a few days and was extremely tired. After going out, Gu Jingzi came to pick her up. Seeing her lean down, Gu Jingzi tilted his head and said, what's wrong? Are you too tired? Lin Che said, I'm fine. It's just that I've finally settled it, so I feel a little tired all of a sudden. Gu Jingzi patted her hand. Let's go home. I'll help you massage it, okay? Really? Hey. You have to keep your word. Gu Jingzi smiled, hugged her in his arms and let the driver drive. When they returned home, the helper said that the old mansion had sent a few new helpers to help take care of the young master. Gu Jingzi pulled Lin Che into the house. Lin Che asked curiously, why did they send people over at this time? Gu Jingzi narrowed his eyes and entered the house with Lin Che. The helpers had already changed into the clothes at home. When they saw the two of them enter, they bowed and said in unison, hello, sir. Hello, madam. Gu Jingzi's gaze swept across them. Who sent you here? The person at the front of the group said, sir, it was madam who chose us. Gu Jingzi called Mu Wanqing and said, mother, did you send someone to take care of Nian Nian? Mu Wanqing quickly said, your grandfather said that there was an extra person over there, but he didn't add any more helpers. I thought it was right, so I went to pick a few for you. Gu Xianda, Gu Jingzi said, I got it. Lin Che listened at the side. Looking at Gu Jingzi's cold gaze, she understood something. She turned to look at the few people and said to Gu Jingzi, since mom personally picked them, let's take a look first. Gu Jingzi hugged her. Okay, I'll let you take a look first. If there's any problem, don't give them to Nian Nian. Okay, I got it. Lin Che looked at them and asked Gu Jingzi, did they all train at the same place? That's right, they were all trained by the royal family of the Gu family. But it seems like we haven't had any newcomers here for a long time. Yes, those who could stay here back then were already the elites of the elites. After staying, they wouldn't do anything wrong and leave easily. Lin Che thought about it and agreed. The people here hadn't changed in a few years and they were all very good to her. Those who could stay under Gu Jingzi's nose and not be scolded must be very attentive. Otherwise, with his high standards, how could he let those who couldn't do anything wander in front of him? Lin Che turned to the few people and said, "All right, since you're here, learn from the people who stayed here. The Gu family is a little different from the old mansion." She casually asked the people to deal with them first. She needed to observe these people first to determine if they could stay. The newcomers followed the old people and began to deal with the work. They were separated and assigned to different jobs. Then, some of the newcomers realized that this place was also different from the training. The smart ones knew not to ask questions, but the dumb ones were a little curious. Especially during the training, they were told to ensure that the family's 3 meals were on time, because it was healthy. However, Lin Che often didn't eat on time. Sometimes in the middle of the night she would ask the kitchen staff to make something for her, but she didn't get up to eat in the morning. They saw that Gu Jingze indulged Lin Che every day. When he woke up in the morning and saw that Lin Che was sleeping, he didn't wake her up or let anyone disturb her. He went out to eat by himself. He even told the servants to ask Madam what she wanted to eat when she woke up later. Chapter 929. Every morning, Gu Jingze would be sitting at the dining table eating at 6 o'clock. He would read the newspaper and then go to work. Lin Che would sleep as long as she wanted. The young master had already left, but she did not get up. She would only come out to eat happily when it was almost 10 o'clock. Then she would leave the house and go somewhere. When the two of them were at home together, they would be so lovey-dovey that the servants would leave the house. Gu Jingze doted on Lin Che so much that he would never avoid the crowd. When the servants were around, Gu Jingze had always been very indulgent with Lin Che. He would pick food for Lin Che, play with Lin Che, carry Lin Che around the house and massage Lin Che's back and waist. He would do all these things directly. The newlyweds would tell some of the old people in private, "She's too peaceful and blissful." The old people smiled at the newlyweds, looking very proud. Of course, Madam and Sir's relationship is really good. They have been in love for so many years. The newlyweds said, "I think so too. Sir treats Madam so well. Madam gets up so late every morning and eats and drinks whatever she wants." The old people looked at the newlyweds strangely. "That's Madam. She can do whatever she wants." They had been here for a long time and naturally knew that Sir's indulgence and love for Madam had slowly evolved. The two of them had quarreled in the beginning, but eventually Madam had completely conquered Sir. Moreover, they felt that Madam was such a good person that they would be absolutely loyal to Lin Che. However, these newlyweds who came from outside would not be loyal to Lin Che. They were trained by the Gu family. They were loyal to the Gu family, but they would not be loyal to anyone. A few of the new servants started to talk in private. They really felt that Sir had spoiled Madam too much these few days. "Didn't you see that Sir even gave Madam water to wash her feet? Sir even carried Madam upstairs. I've never seen anyone raise such an ugly dog at home. But I heard that Madam insisted on raising it. It's a mongrel dog. So fat from eating too much. If outsiders knew about it, I don't know how they would laugh at Sir. Moreover, as a wife, she doesn't even send her husband out when he goes out. She sleeps until late in the morning while her husband works hard at home. That's too unruly. Anyway, I heard that Madam came from the countryside and doesn't have a good upbringing. It's only because Sir treats her so well that she becomes more and more lawless." The new servant was trained by the Gu family. She didn't get along with Lin Che from the beginning, so she didn't have a good first impression of Lin Che. Later on, she felt that everything about Lin Che was bad. Lin Che and Xin Yuran had been preparing to set up a company. Now that the company's name had been approved and the location had been found, it would be ready to be listed soon. Therefore, Lin Che seemed to be much busier. When she got home, she heard that Gu Jingze was in the study, so she quietly walked in. When the helper saw that Lin Che had actually entered such a secret study room without knocking on the door, she made a mental note of Lin Che's unruly behavior. Of course, Lin Che didn't know that Gu Jingze was lying on the floor with one hand supporting his chin. He seemed to be asleep. Lin Che blinked her eyes, walked over and looked down at Gu Jingze. She found that she was not mistaken. Gu Jingze was really asleep. For a moment she felt funny, sad and distressed. How tired was Gu Jingze? How could he fall asleep with his head propped up in his hands? She walked over and carefully looked at Gu Jingze, who was sleeping like this. There was still a worried look on his face. In front of Gu Jingze, there was still a stack of documents. His eyes were lowered and his long eyelashes covered half of his eyes. His dark, swirling shadow looked so pitiful. It seemed that he was extremely tired and that was why his eyes were lowered. Lin Che looked at his good-looking face and felt that Gu Jingze had to bear too many things. He was too tired and had to take care of too many things. He was not an Iron Man and he would also be tired. It was just that he never showed even the slightest hint of exhaustion to others. Lin Che thought of Gu Jingze's never-ending appearance and felt even more distressed. Maybe they should find a place to rest together. She hadn't rested since she came back and it was the same for him. One thing after another made them lose track of time. Now that she thought about it, it had been so long since they went out for a walk together. Lin Che looked around and found Gu Jingze's clothes. She walked over slowly and was just about to put them on him. Suddenly, Gu Jingze, who was still asleep, grabbed her wrist with one hand. In the next moment, Lin Che was pressed onto the desk. "Ah!" Lin Che screamed. Gu Jingze reacted instantly. His cloudy eyes suddenly became clear. When he saw Lin Che, he hurriedly pulled her up and looked at her carefully. "How are you?" Lin Che rubbed her wrist and looked at him, shaking her head. "I'm fine. I just wanted to help you get some clothes." "What's wrong? Are you dreaming?" Gu Jingze quickly realized that he had fallen asleep just now. Recently, he had been thinking and dealing with things day and night. It was too messy, which made him very tired. He sighed, took a breath and said, "Don't get so close to me next time. It's okay if you call me from afar. I'm afraid I'll hurt you if you get so close, understand?" Lin Che looked at him. "You're too vigilant." Gu Jingze said, "This is a natural reaction from training. I can't change it in a short time." Once someone approached him, he would immediately react defensively. It was like a subconscious action that he couldn't change. Hearing this, Lin Che's heart ached even more. Outsiders didn't know that Gu Jingze, who lived at the top of the pyramid, only slept 6 hours a day without rest. He worked tirelessly day and night and his schedule was so full that anyone who saw it would be amazed. She said, "Gu Jingze, after I finish filming this movie, let's go out and play, okay?" Gu Jingze looked at her. "What? Do you have somewhere you want to go?" "I don't really want to go anywhere. I just want to go out for a walk." "Hey, what's this?" Because he was never guarded against her, he didn't put away the document he was reading. However, when Lin Che looked down, she saw a photo that she recognized. The person in the photo was none other than Han Qing'en's wife, whom she had met in Country M. Chapter 930. Lin Che looked at it in surprise. She looked up curiously and asked, "What's this for?" Gu Jingze looked down and forgot to put it away, but it was too late. Lin Che took a closer look. It was indeed that person. Looking at this face again, she still felt that it was a little special. It was very familiar and strange. Gu Jingze looked at her. "Because I'm still investigating Han Qing'en, so I did a little investigation," Lin Che said curiously. "Oh, so what did you find out?" "Not yet. You didn't find anything? Does this person have anything to do with my mother?" "This." Gu Jingze pulled Lin Che over and made her sit on his lap. He looked at her and said, "When your mother passed away, didn't you see her body being buried with your own eyes? Why are you still so interested in someone who looks like your mother?" Lin Che shook her head. "I was very young at that time. People said that children shouldn't look at corpses, so I only took a look and didn't get close to her." Gu Jingze looked to the side thoughtfully. Lin Che's eyes were fixed on him. "Did you think of something? Is there anything suspicious?" Gu Jingze looked at her and felt that it was not good to hide it from her. Originally, he wanted to tell her whether there was a problem or not after confirming it. However, now that she had seen it and everything was so suspicious, he felt that there was no way to hide it from her. Gu Jingze looked at her and asked, "Lin Che, if this person really has something to do with your mother, what will you do?" Lin Che thought about it and looked ahead. "Related. I have to see what the connection is. If she is my mother's relative, I think I'll be very happy. But my mother doesn't seem to have any sisters and I can't think of anything else for now. If they are really related, of course I want to find the answer and know what the connection is. I also think that although there are people who look alike in this world, there are very few who look so alike unless they are really related by blood." Gu Jingze said, "If you really want to investigate, we'll go to Country M in a few days." "Really?" Gu Jingze said, "She does have a lot of identities." He spread it out for her to see. Because her identity is a mystery, many people have never seen her before. Later on, she married Han Qingzhen for some reason, and after so many years without a child, everyone guessed that there was something wrong with her body. I took a look. Han Qingzhen's family receives a lot of medicine every year, and although it's messy, most of them are for women, so it should be for her. If she was sick, then there should have been a hospital record before, but not only after she married Han Qingzhen, but also before she married Han Qingzhen, there was no hospital record and she never had a cold, so her identity is a little strange. Then, Gu Jingzi said, "Didn't you say that you want to go out for a walk? We can take this opportunity to go to M country to rest. While resting, we can come here to take a look." Lin Che thought it was a good idea. Of course it's good, but the Yun family is in M nation, they won't. If the Yun family doesn't dare to do anything, then we'll live in peace. If the Yun family dares to do anything, then we can take care of the Yun family. Lin Che hugged Gu Jingzi. "Okay, I'll listen to you. But when we get there, don't work every day. As a CEO, you have to know how to strategize and delegate power. Don't do everything yourself. It's so tiring." Gu Jingzi looked at her. "Why? Are you worried?" Lin Che looked at him and said, "Of course I'm your wife. If there's something wrong with your body, it's not just your problem. You have to remember that you still have me. If you're exhausted, what will happen to me in the future?" Gu Jingzi smiled and kissed her lips lightly. "You're right. There are still so many years. I want to keep my body and torment you for the rest of my life." As he said that, he reached out and pinched her waist. Ouch. Lin Che couldn't help but cry out when she moved. Annoying. Gu Jingzi really didn't move today. He wanted to cherish his body. He didn't want to exhaust everything now. When that time came, he could only look at her without being able to move. Wouldn't that torture him to death? After resting for a day, the next day he arranged for some people to go to Country M for a holiday. He prepared a holiday villa in Country M and asked a few familiar servants to prepare it first. Then he brought a few new servants with him to test their abilities. When the new servants heard that Lin Che had just spent the night with him in the study, they thought that it must be Lin Che's idea to ask Gu Jingzi to take her out to play instead of working. Normally, servants couldn't tell anyone about their master's matters outside of Taopu Road. However, this batch of new servants had just arrived at the Gu family. They felt that the Gu family should be connected to the whole family, so they revealed this information to the family. The new servants said that they felt that Gu Jingzi spoiled Lin Che too much. He was also obedient to Lin Che and gave her whatever she wanted. When Lin Che said that she wanted to go out to play, she immediately put down her work and went out to play. This was definitely not good for the Gu family. Thinking that such a person would become the mistress in the future, they felt even more helpless. Lin Che and Gu Jingzi went to Country M first. The beach villa in Country M was very sunny. This was a southern country, unlike Country C, where City B was already very cold. This was a tropical area, so people could still go out in short sleeves. After arriving, the two of them went to the villa first. Because it was a holiday villa, the facilities here were relatively simple. Gu Jingzi helped her pack up and took her to the beach for a walk. The beach was very beautiful and the coastline was much cleaner than in Country C. After all, there was a large population in Country C. It was difficult to ensure the balance of population and ecology. There were many tourists by the beach. Most of them were from the north, and they specially came here to enjoy the sunshine and the beach. Lin Che and Gu Jingzi didn't bring their swimsuits and they didn't plan to swim here. They just walked slowly by the beach, looking at the bikini-clad beauties outside. Lin Che exclaimed, "The beach is really a man's paradise. There are so many beauties." Gu Jingzi only took a glance and said, "Where are the beauties?" Lin Che said, "There are so many. You didn't see them." Gu Jingzi said, "I didn't see any of them." Lin Che turned around and said, "Gu Jingzi, you're too good at making women happy. No, I think you shouldn't treat your illness." She nodded. "Then you can only make me happy. Otherwise, with your sweet mouth, you'll be able to make everyone happy." Chapter 931. Gu Jingzi said, "Didn't you notice that other than suppressing it, I haven't gone for treatment?" Lin Che said, "Ah, right. Why, I was just joking. I didn't really want you to." Of course, she didn't want him to be sick all the time. Although it wouldn't affect his life much, it would be a hidden danger if there was any danger. Gu Jingzi said, "I don't think I want to touch other women. I don't have such thoughts at all. So it's useless to spend so much manpower and resources on treatment. Lin Che looked at him. That won't do. What if there's danger? Danger is just a precaution. I'll just be careful. That's different. I don't want you to give up treatment because of me. Lin Che said, it can be treated. I still hope that you can be treated. Really, I hope that you can be healthy and have no problems at all. Gu Jingze looked at her. He didn't want her to worry too much. He nodded. If there's a chance, I'll still treat it. Lin Che smiled and continued to walk hand in hand with him. On the side, a pretty girl in a bikini was selling flowers. When she saw the two of them, she hurried over. Lin Che quickly took the flowers and didn't let them have a chance to touch Gu Jingze. Thank you. I'll buy one. The pretty girl in the bikini looked at Gu Jingze and thought to herself, he's so handsome. No wonder he's so protective. She didn't even let him get close to the flower seller. Lin Che held the flower in his hand and continued to walk with him. He felt that watching the sunset and walking with him like this wouldn't be boring at all. But the two of them didn't know. From the moment they entered the country, M Nation had already caused a huge commotion. Everyone knew that Gu Jingze had brought his wife to M Nation again. Although they said it was for a vacation, no one believed them. Anyway, they didn't believe it. After Gu Jingze's previous actions, everyone felt that this arrogant man was definitely a scourge. He definitely wouldn't come to M Nation just for a vacation. So everyone's eyes were fixed on Gu Jingze. They were trying to find out any clues about his movements and were on high alert. However, after watching for 2 days, they found that he really did not leave the villa. Every day he would either go for a walk on the beach or play around with his wife, which made people confused. Was he really here for a vacation? However, the whole city was still on guard, watching Lin Che and Gu Jingze. Seeing that the two of them had stayed for several days but did not want to leave, their hearts were exhausted. Every day felt like a year. They really hoped that this devil would leave the M Nation as soon as possible. Lin Che and Gu Jingze, on the other hand, really wanted to rest for a while and do some things while they were at it. They lived leisurely and didn't care what the others were thinking. It was a nice day. Gu Jingze asked Lin Che, do you want to go somewhere today? Lin Che said, I want to find a place where I can eat seafood. The seafood in B City isn't as fresh as here. I really want to eat it. Gu Jingze said, okay, then I'll go and see where the seafood is fresher. As long as she wanted it, Gu Jingze would gladly agree. However, Lin Che pulled Gu Jingze and said, hey, I remember there's a big seafood market nearby. Why don't we buy some seafood and cook it ourselves? It's cheap and fresh. Seafood market? Gu Jingze thought for a while and said, but are you sure you want to cook it yourself? Can it be eaten by you? Why can't we eat seafood? We can eat it directly after steaming it. Lin Che said angrily. He really didn't trust her. The things she cooked were not that scary. Gu Jingze said, okay, I'll give you a chance. Let's go and buy it. Gu Jingze packed his things and the two of them rushed to the seafood market together. When they were outside, Gu Jingze saw the people hiding in the corners. He smiled and shook his head. These people were really not tired at all. When he held Lin Che and brought her into the market, his smile was unfathomable. Lin Che noticed it and asked curiously, why are you smiling so strangely? Did something happen? Gu Jingze said, there are some people following behind us. It's just a little annoying. Oh. Lin Che turned around and saw a few people hiding behind a pillar, looking very sneaky. No way. Why are they following us? Lin Che wasn't worried that some bad guys would dare to follow them. The Gu family's security guards were not to be trifled with. Normal bad guys couldn't even get close to them. Gu Jingze said, these small fries don't matter. Look, the one buying fish in front has been following us for 2 days. The one parking the car behind us has been following us for a day and a half. The one making a phone call by the tree has been following us for 3 days. Then no way. Why didn't I notice them? Lin Che looked at him and really did notice them. Gu Jingze said, of course you wouldn't notice them. They are all professional spies. So the people from Country M are watching us? That's right. They're probably waiting to see why we're here. It's so boring, Lin Che said. They sent so many powerful spies to follow us. Don't they think it's a waste of money? Gu Jingze said, these people can't even compare to the Gu families in Ing. They're nothing. Alright, let's go in and buy something. Lin Che said, but why are there so many people? Who hired so many people? It's not anyone, Gu Jingzi said. I guess all the big and small forces in country M have sent people here. I've seen some people these days. There are at least 10 or 20 families. Lin Che said in surprise, why are there so many people following us? Oh my god, this lineup is too strong. You can treat them as followers or bodyguards. Anyway, they can't do anything by following us. Alright, I feel bad for them. They follow us every day and watch us buy, eat and go on vacation. It's really hard for them. You're right. Gu Jingzi looked at Lin Che with a smile. He lowered his head and kissed her on the lips. It was as if they were deliberately showing off their affection. The people around them looked depressed. Lin Che blushed and pushed him away. He smiled and hugged Lin Che as they went inside to buy seafood. The seafood market was filled with the smell of fish. There were people everywhere. There were also many tourists who wanted to buy more live animals to bring home. The fresh seafood was lively. Lin Che bought a few big crabs and some mantis shrimps. She also bargained with the shop owner for some small shrimps. The two of them went shopping. Gu Jingzi carried the things behind them while Lin Che watched them from the front. They looked like a normal couple. When they went back, they were carrying a big bag. Gu Jingzi held Lin Che's hand while carrying the ingredients. Seeing that there were too many things, Lin Che said to him, "Let me take some." Gu Jingzi said, "Just hold my hand." Chapter 932. Lin Che looked at him sweetly. "You're so good at talking. Are you trying to please me because you want me to agree to your request?" "That's right," Gu Jingzi said. "Serve me well tonight, do you hear me?" Lin Che looked at him and thought of what he said today. He didn't even want to be treated for her. She didn't think there was a need to do this, but she knew that he really doted on her and doted on her. Such a big bag wasn't a big deal, but he carried a lot of things for her which were much heavier than this bag. The two of them returned to the villa. Because Gu Jingzi wanted to experience the life of shopping with Lin Che and then coming back. It was very peaceful and quiet, as if they were two ordinary people. And he had been too far away from being ordinary since he was young. So he felt happy to have such times occasionally. Therefore he didn't ask the servants to carry the things, but asked them to follow them from afar. However, when they arrived home, the servants saw Gu Jingzi carrying the things in, while Lin Che didn't seem to care about anything. The servants hurried over to take the things. Gu Jingzi turned around and said to Lin Che, "Didn't you say you were going to cook? Let's see how you cook it." Lin Che immediately said, "Of course I'll cook it." Seeing the two of them go in, the servants thought to themselves that this madam was treating the master of the Gu family like a coolie. This was too outrageous. Gu Jingzi was the master of the Gu family, and he had never done any heavy work since he was young. Asking him to do this was disrespectful to Gu Jingzi, to her husband, and to the master of the Gu family. Seeing Gu Jingzi go in, Lin Che thought for a moment, picked up her phone and searched for recipes. Just as she had expected, cooking seafood was indeed very simple. She giggled, memorized the instructions and began to cook. She put water, ginger and some other ingredients in the pot, and put the seafood on top to steam. When Gu Jingzi came out, he saw Lin Che staring at the pot carefully. He smiled and said, "You're staring at it so closely. Be careful, it might explode." But no way. Lin Che stepped back in fear. Gu Jingzi looked at her and burst out laughing. Lin Che looked at him speechlessly. "You're teasing me on purpose, humph." Gu Jingzi walked over and said, "You're so stupid. You fall for it every time I tease you." Lin Che humphed and said, "I'm too serious. I'm seriously preparing food. Come, I think it's cooked. Let's try it." Gu Jingzi frowned. "What do you mean you think it's cooked? It's cooked." Lin Che put his hands on his hips and shouted at him in dissatisfaction. Gu Jingzi laughed again. He thought it was very interesting when she spoke with her cheeks puffed up. Good, he said. "It's done, it must be done. Come on, eat it." Even if the seafood was a little, it would be cooked. Gu Jingzi helped her take out the seafood. She even specially mixed some ingredients and put them on a beautiful plate. She took out her phone and took a photo. She posted it on Weibo and said, "Look at how lively I am." After that, he felt that the points that the netizens had discovered were different. Someone asked curiously, "Lin Che, are you in America? Your phone's GPS is in America." Some people said that the background was really beautiful with such a big kitchen and a luxurious mansion. Some people said that the plates were really beautiful and exquisite. In any case, no one would comment on the seafood she made. Lin Che curled his lips. Gu Jingzi said, "All right, the phone has finished eating the seafood. It's time for us to eat. Here, let's eat." Lin Che first picked up a crab for Gu Jingzi, then looked at him with squinted eyes and smiled. "Try it, see if you like it." Under his expectant gaze, Gu Jingzi picked up the crab and ate it. Lin Che blinked. "How is it?" Gu Jingzi stopped eating for a while. Lin Che asked anxiously, "How is it?" Gu Jingzi said, "Is delicious." "Really?" Lin Che quickly picked up his chopsticks and picked up some mantis shrimps to eat. The meat looked delicious, which gave Lin Che a lot more confidence. However, the moment she put it in her mouth, she only felt a fishy taste mixed with a bitter taste and a little sour. It tasted terrible. She suddenly vomited on the table, looked at Gu Jingzi, scrunched up her face and said to him, "Why does it taste so terrible?" However, Gu Jingzi was still eating with no intention of vomiting at all. Was the crab different? She picked up the crab and started eating. However, it tasted as terrible as the mantis shrimps. Lin Che looked sad. "All right, don't eat it. Tastes terrible." "How can you eat it?" Gu Jingzi looked at her, took back her crab leg and said to her, "All right, it's already cooked. It doesn't taste that bad." "But it really doesn't taste good. Seriously, I clearly followed the procedure and it looked good. It was such a simple journey, how could it? This is a matter of talent, don't worry about it." Gu Jingzi held her hand. "Besides, what haven't I eaten before? It's not a big deal and the taste doesn't matter. The most important thing is that I like it. That's enough." Lin Che pouted and looked at him. "What do you like? What's there to like?" Gu Jingzi's gaze became more affectionate. "I like that you make things for me." Gu Jingzi said, "Buying things, bringing them home and painstakingly making them are all things that a normal couple would do. I already feel good seeing you make things for me. It doesn't matter if it tastes good or not. I just like watching you make things for me. I like this feeling." His words were like warm water that washed away all the impatience in her heart. She looked at Gu Jingzi and really wondered what she had done to deserve such a good husband. He was so obedient to her and doted on her. He treated her like a treasure. It was as if everything she did was good to him and he liked it. Lin Che said, "Let's eat together then." Gu Jingzi said, "All right, you don't have to eat anymore. I'll make it for you and you make it for me. We'll eat each other." Lin Che said, "No, we're husband and wife. We share blessings and misfortunes. How can I let you eat alone?" She looked at the food on the table, thinking angrily that she had to finish the dark cuisine she made even if she cried. Boo. The two of them ate together looking at each other. No matter how bad the food was, it did feel better. After eating, Lin Che finally let out a breath. I won't make food anymore." Gu Jingzi said, "Then I won't. But other wives cook for their husbands. If I don't cook, won't I be too irresponsible?" Gu Jingzi said, "It's okay. You're delicious enough. Eating you is enough." Chapter 933. Gu Jingzi carried her up and said, "Let's go in and wash up first." After showering and washing her face, it was time to rest. Gu Jingzi helped her wash up. He looked at her as if she was an exquisite doll. She was cute no matter how he looked at her. He gently parted her hair that had just been blow-dried. Her hair was soft and very comfortable to the touch. Gu Jingzi looked down at her. He gently placed her on the bed and kissed her fragrant skin. Lin Che snorted. He said, "Good girl, you smell so good. You're more delicious than anything else." Lin Che's body was burning and her face became even redder. He said, "I want to eat your whole body." "Really?" Lin Che clenched her fists. She felt as if he was really eating her, tapping her skin again and again. Lin Che was an extremely shy person. Even though the two of them had been together for a long time, she was too embarrassed to take the initiative. And Gu Jingzi doted on her so much that she didn't dare to do anything. He had always actively cooperated with her and adjusted all her feelings. Lin Che felt that she was used to being served by him, but she had never done anything for him. She felt that she could do what other women could do and what other women couldn't, she could also do because this was the man she loved. He was so good to her, so she should do something for him. Lin Che's face was red. She pushed him and flipped him to the bottom. She rode on him and looked at him lying on the bottom. Gu Jingzi said, "Why? Do you want to be on top today?" Lin Che's face became even redder. She said, I want to try." The woman sitting on him was like a tempting fruit that made one's blood boil. However, Gu Jingzi didn't expect Lin Che to lower her head and kiss him. She kissed him from top to bottom, down his ribs, down his firm stomach bulging muscles. But she didn't stop and continued to kiss him. Gu Jingzi was stunned and quickly pulled her back. "Lin Che." Gu Jingzi held her hand and didn't let her move. Lin Che's face was red. He felt that he really didn't know what he was doing. However, there was an impulse in his head that made him feel that he could definitely do it. She said, "Don't move, let me." Gu Jingzi understood her intention and disagreed even more. "No, Lin Che, don't be like this." Although he had always said that Lin Che had never properly served him and that he had always been the one to serve her, how could he really bear to let her do anything? He only wanted to give her the best things to enjoy without her sacrificing herself and doing things she didn't want to do. He still wanted to push her, but Lin Che had already grabbed his hand. Gu Jingzi felt his body stiffen. His body was already out of control. This little vixen, what was she trying to do today? Lin Che raised his head and looked at Gu Jingzi. In the past he had kissed her in places that she shouldn't have, leaving her powerless to resist. Today she wanted to give it a try. He was actually her man. She wanted to kiss every inch of his body. She wouldn't despise him, wouldn't feel uncomfortable, and wouldn't try to force him either. At most she would just feel too shy. Her face was really red before she lowered her head. Gu Jingzi was really going crazy. He snorted crazily and held Lin Che's shoulder. He couldn't help but say, "Lin Che, oh Lin Che, are you trying to kill me?" She really wanted to eat him up. But damn it, he just couldn't stop her. Because he had completely lost his mind. He didn't look like a man anymore because of her. He couldn't help but take it out quickly after she kissed him for a while. After he became tired, his body was still recalling everything that had just happened, and he only felt that it was unbelievable. And Lin Che's face was so red that she didn't dare to look at him, nor did she dare to think about what she had done. Gu Jingzi came back to his senses and looked up at her. "Lin Che, you really..." Lin Che looked at him with her beautiful eyes. "I just want to do what many wives do, and I want to try." Gu Jingzi hugged her. "I don't want you to feel wronged." "Why would I feel wronged? Didn't you help me before? Do you feel wronged too?" "Of course not," Gu Jingzi said in a low voice. "I think it's very delicious." She was already extremely shy, so she definitely wouldn't be as amazing as him and say things like, "very delicious." Gu Jingzi looked at her and lowered his head to kiss her lips. Lin Che was pushed onto the bed. His body, which had just rested, had regained its masculinity, and the crazy feeling from before was still there. For a moment he really felt like he had gone crazy. Thinking about everything she had done for him, he couldn't help but want to eat her up bit by bit. Lin Che could clearly feel that he was crazier than usual. It was like a crazy tornado that wanted to plunder her, making her body extremely sensitive. Gu Jingzi kept calling, "Little guy, who asked you to seduce me today? Little vixen, I really want to kill you." Lin Che whimpered and shouted at him, I didn't at all, I owe you." This time Lin Che really felt like he had gotten himself into trouble. After a night of torment, he only let her go when dawn broke. When he woke up, Gu Jingzi looked at the woman beside him and gently kissed her on the tired cheek. Looking at her usually made him feel enough passion, but he didn't expect her to be so bold and provoke him like this. How could he let her go? Gu Jingzi also felt sorry for her. He felt that she had done so much for him. Although she said that she didn't feel bad and didn't force herself, he still didn't want her to do this. She was a treasure that he treasured, and he didn't want her to feel uncomfortable at all. He couldn't bear to let her touch such a dirty place. Although she didn't think it was dirty and it was indeed very clean, he still felt sorry for her just thinking about it. Although, that look could really make people go crazy. That feeling was indeed indescribable. The sun was high up in the sky. Gu Jingzi had been working hard the whole night, so he really didn't get up early. In the study, the people who came with him had been waiting for the whole morning. Unexpectedly, Gu Jingzi didn't get up early. Gu Jingzi looked at the person who came. "How's the investigation going?" "Sir Han Qingzhen is too protective. It's indeed a bit difficult to investigate." I don't want to hear the process, I just want the results. Gu Jingzi knew that it wouldn't be easy, but he had to find out. Chapter 934. Seeing the change in Gu Jingzi's expression, the few of them perked up and immediately said, "But we found out that because she doesn't have any children, she adopted a child from the orphanage and goes there to do charity work every week." Every week? Yes, the orphanage is here. Gu Jingzi paused for a moment as if he had thought of something. After Lin Che woke up, Gu Jingzi said, "Let's go out for a walk today." "Oh, where are we going?" "We'll go somewhere further today." "Let's go." Lin Che nodded. He felt that it was fine to just listen to him. After leaving with Gu Jingzi, Lin Che sat in the car and looked out. They drove straight into the city and soon they arrived at an orphanage. Lin Che said, "What are we doing here?" "To give gifts to the orphanage, of course." As he said that, he got out of the car. Lin Che saw that there was a row of people following behind them. They parked the car beside the orphanage and the people got out of the car with bags of various sizes. They came over to Gu Jingzi and Lin Che and said, "Sir, madam, we've contacted the orphanage. They said that we're here to show our love." As expected, the director of the orphanage came out very quickly. Seeing that so many people had come with so many gifts, he knew that they were probably rich people. Therefore he was very enthusiastic. "Thank you, kind people. I just received a call. Thank you so much for paying attention to our love orphanage," Gu Jingzi said. Gu Jingzi said, "We're from country C. We like to do charity work. Wherever we go we'll do charity work. Someone bring us our donations." Lin Che looked at Gu Jingzi and felt that he lied without blinking. He said it so naturally and without any hint of stage fright. His strong aura made it hard for people not to believe his words. When the people from the orphanage saw that there was a donation, they were shocked when they looked down at the number. 30 million. The people from the orphanage quickly said, "Really, thank you so much. The 100 orphans in our orphanage will have a good life. We can also help more children in need and help them overcome their difficulties. Kind people, you will definitely be rewarded." Gu Jingzi said, "I don't ask for rewards for doing good deeds. I just want to live up to my conscience. By the way, we can go and see the children in the orphanage." "Of course you can. Today our welfare institute has a great philanthropist who tirelessly comes to help every week. It's all because of kind-hearted people like you that we can establish ourselves in this society and help more people." Lin Che followed Gu Jingzi inside. When they got inside, they saw that the orphanage here was indeed much cleaner than ordinary orphanages. The children also looked very clean. However, thinking that they were all children without a home, they felt very pitiful. He could only hope that the money could really be used on these children. That way they would be much more comforted. At this time, Lin Che suddenly saw a woman wearing a sun hat inside, taking care of a baby. The baby looked like she had a cleft lip. Other than her ugly mouth, the rest of her was very cute. It was unknown which heartless mother had abandoned her, but now she was sitting there, drinking milk powder. The way the woman carried the baby was very professional. He fed the baby carefully. The way she looked made people feel very warm. Lin Che was stunned. He looked at her as if he was looking at his own mother. Because it was too similar. That was Fang Zichen. He had seen Fang Zichen before. Lin Che stood there in a daze. He looked in Fang Zichen's direction expectantly. Gu Jingzi turned his head and looked at her silently. He didn't know what he was thinking. After a long time he took Lin Che's hand and walked over. He said, "Mrs. Han, what a coincidence." Fang Zichen looked up and saw the two of them. She was a little surprised at first, but then she quickly stood up. "Ah, hello." She looked at Lin Che and sized him up. "You're Lin Che, right? Why are you here?" Lin Che said, "Oh, Mrs. Han, we're on vacation in Country M and wanted to take the opportunity to come here to do some charity work. I didn't expect to meet you here." Fang Zichen said, "Really? You're here to do charity work. Thank you so much. There are more than 100 abandoned children here and there are more every week. At the same time, a few children are also adopted. However, many children still need help. We really need kind people like you." Lin Che said, "Do you come here often?" Fang Zichen nodded. "Yes. Looking at these children, I feel that I still have a lot of things to do. I still want to help them. Look at this child. She's only 6 months old and she was abandoned. She doesn't have a mother. I can be her mother, take care of her and help her. Although I'm only a temporary mother, it can make up for her lack of motherly love, right? Lin Che looked at her words and felt that she must really want to do this, unlike some people who just wanted to put on a show. For some reason, Lin Che felt that she was very kind and benevolent, even though they didn't know each other very well. Lin Che said, "That's great. You can come here more often to help. We can only take time to come and take a look." "Yes. You young people must be busy. I don't have much to do at home." Lin Che looked at her. "But I saw you almost fall last time. Is there something wrong with your body?" "Ah yes. It's an old problem. I'm just weak and always feel dizzy. Qingzhen has helped me treat it for a long time, but he can't do anything about it. I reckon that this problem will follow me for the rest of my life. If it wasn't for Qingzhen, I reckon that no one would be able to take care of me like this. They would definitely despise a sickly person like me." "How could that be? You're so good and beautiful," Lin Che said. She looked at Lin Che and felt that she liked him very much. She held Lin Che's hand and looked at him carefully. "You really know how to talk. I'm not as beautiful as you. You're the real beautiful one." Lin Che said, "Of course not. If only I could be as elegant and generous as you when I was your age. That would be great." "Definitely. You're so healthy. You don't look like me. Then don't you have children?" "Yes." She looked a little regretful. "Because of my body I can't have children and Qingzhen doesn't allow me to. But luckily I still have these children." Lin Che felt that she was very pitiful. However, that Han Qingzhen probably really doted on her and loved her very much. That was why such a rich person didn't care if he had children or not. Although one couldn't generalize, many rich people still had high expectations for their children. She said, "However, Mr. Han really treats you very well. Don't worry. There are gains and losses. This is probably the law of life." Chapter 935. She nodded. "I think so too. I must have done something shameful in my previous life. That's why I have to bear all these things in this life. However, the heavens are very kind to me. They let me have grace and not despise me." Gu Jingze watched from the side. He didn't want to interrupt their conversation. Fang Zichen brought Lin Che over to breastfeed the baby. She smiled and guided Lin Che. Lin Che had taken care of Nian Nian before, so he naturally knew how to do it. However, he still pretended that he didn't know how to do it and let Fang Zichen teach him. Gu Jingze looked at them for a while and walked over. "Madam, we don't know much about the local customs here. We want to hold a wedding here. May I ask if there are any wedding etiquette here?" Gu Jingze asked. I really don't know. I haven't attended any weddings before. It's about the same as in Country C. You haven't attended one before?" Lin Che asked. She nodded. "I'm not in good health. Qingzhen doesn't invite me to crowded places." "Really? What about your wedding with Mr. Han? Your wedding must have been very romantic, right?" She smiled and said, "Not really. Our wedding was actually very simple. Because I don't remember much about our wedding, he held a new one for me. We just had a simple meal. When two people are together, we don't have to worry too much about these things. As long as two people are of the same mind, the wedding or not doesn't really matter." Gu Jingze said, "Oh, you didn't have a wedding?" At this moment, outside, the director of the Welfare Institute suddenly came in. He was about to say something when Fang Zichen looked up and said, "Director, what happened? Why are you so anxious?" The director's gaze moved back and forth between them. When he saw Gu Jingze, he subconsciously thought that it must have something to do with him. This young man whom he had never seen before had donated such a large sum of money to the Welfare Institute. He thought that he was not an ordinary person. Then suddenly there were so many people outside. And Gu Jingze was the first to react. He said to the two women, "Oh, they're here for me. You guys go ahead. I'll go deal with it. It might be about the donation." Seeing Gu Jingze walk out first, he turned back to look at the director. His eyes were full of vigor. The director was startled and involuntarily followed him out. Fang Zichen said, "What is it?" Looking at Gu Jingze's expression, Lin Che knew something was up. He turned around and smiled at Fang Zichen. "It's nothing. It's probably about the donation. We just donated a sum of money." "Oh, I see." Fang Zichen nodded and continued to feed the baby with her. At this moment it was different from the warmth inside. Outside, the director and the other employees of the orphanage saw that they had been surrounded by a large number of people. It felt like they were being besieged. Everyone was panicking and they couldn't help but tremble in fear. What was going on? Why did a group of people suddenly surround them? Inside, the bodyguard who had just come with the young man was also ready to fight at any time. He was ready to fight at any time. They had never seen such a scene before. For a moment they were wondering what was going on. Had they offended some underworld forces, or had some wanted criminals come to cause so many people to be dispatched to deal with them? At this moment, Gu Jingze walked out from the back with light steps. Looking at the scene outside, his lips curled into a smile. Alright, they came pretty quickly. Gu Jingze stood outside and said, Han Qingzhen, come out. If there's anything we can talk face to face. The people outside were Han Qingzhen's people. This went without saying. The leader of the crowd said, Our Xiao Han won't come out. Leave the orphanage immediately and leave Country M immediately. Otherwise, you might not be able to return from your trip to Country M. Gu Jingze smiled. If I could believe this kind of threat every time, then I, Gu Jingze, would have been swallowed up by the business world long ago. Your Xiao Han didn't teach you well. When you say such things, don't you think about whether your madam is closer to you or me? The expressions of the people outside changed. Gu Jingze said, Han Qingzhen, are you still not coming out? If you're not coming out, why don't I ask madam to come out and ask you to come out personally? Don't touch Zichen. At this moment, a deep voice came from behind. It was filled with anger. He couldn't eat or sleep well for the few days that Gu Jingze was in Country M. However, Gu Jingze had been playing around these few days and didn't seem to be doing anything. He had just relaxed for a day when unexpectedly, Gu Jingze suddenly came to kill him. Initially, he didn't want Zichen to come to the orphanage. However, Zichen didn't have any other hobbies other than visiting the orphanage. He couldn't stop her. Gu Jingze looked at Han Qingzhen, who was walking out. Xiao Han, I didn't think that we would meet again so soon. Han Qingzhen humphed. Gu Jingze, this is Country M. Even if you're powerful, this isn't your territory. Are you sure you want to go against me here? Gu Jingze said, You've misunderstood. We're not here to look for you. What's in it for us to go against you? We just have some questions that we want to clarify. Han Qingzhen's expression didn't change. I don't have any grudges with you and I don't have any questions that I can answer for you. You've already violated the rules of the business world by harassing my wife. You're going to lose the people's trust by doing this. Gu Jingze said, It's still uncertain whether she's your wife or not. Han Qingzhen's expression suddenly changed. What did you say? Gu Jingze said, Did she lose her memory before? Han Qingzhen's expression suddenly changed. He looked at Gu Jingze viciously and said, Gu Jingze, Zichen and I have depended on each other for so many years. You can touch me, but if you lay a finger on Zichen, if you hurt her even a little, I guarantee that I won't hesitate even if I have to die with you. As soon as he finished speaking, the people around him immediately armed themselves to the teeth and looked like they were ready to fight to the death at any moment. The atmosphere in the orphanage suddenly dropped. The people inside were immediately frightened and panicked. Hurt her? I think you're the one who's hurting her, Han Qingzhen. You should know better than me who she is and what her past is. Now that she has lost her memory and her past, she must be feeling very empty inside. Is that why she likes children so much? Is it because she lost something in the past that she likes to come to the orphanage and take care of these children? Is it because she feels guilty so she always wants to do volunteer work to make up for her past? Shut up. Han Qingzhen gritted his teeth. The expression on his face had already skyrocketed within his line of sight. You're tuning in to the Dreamy Chapters YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.